couple of years, and Dublin haven't been there for a few years, Colin. So
yeah.
you know,
and
11 years.
the way that the young lad talked, there is a huge weight of expectancy on the Dublin players. Like, they're nervous, very, very nervous. Yeah. Nobody expects Mayo to do much. Like, the reality is that the vast majority of people going in here today, and a lot of the Mayo people, will be just happy if Mayo put up a good show. Dublin, there's nothing but win, and this weight of expectation can be very demanding on them, because none of these players, apart from Jo, have an All-Ireland, and you know, they're still striving. They're not the finished article by any means.
No, they're not. Well, this is the Mayo team, and a great rousing welcome from their supporters, who have been here at Croke Park quite early today, in actual fact, because obviously they came in early to see the two previous matches involving two Connacht teams. Leitrim involved in the last one, Roscommon in the minor match earlier on. So they came here in their thousands, and as I said, have been here since very early on today to support their team. Team pictures for the papers for tomorrow. The other thing, Joe Brolly, that they will want to do, Mayo, I mean, is, you know, put a little bit of, you know, until they win in All-Ireland, because I've had a couple of bad experiences in All-Ireland over the years, and the last one again was another one of those. Put that behind them.
The Mayo team have gone down to Hill 16.
I see that actually, the Mayo team down.
A very good reception.
This could be interesting in a few minutes' time now when the Dubs come out.
What Mayo need to do here is, because you know that Dublin will come out at this at 100 miles an hour.
Being welcomed by some of the Dub supporters on the hill.
Oh yeah, and this will be...
That's a foolish thing to do. Like that sort of...
It's an empty gesture.
Yeah,
you know?
making out as if they are so confident they can go to whichever side. They'd be better off just come up and do their talking once the match starts.
It's a bit like the time Willie Anderson's Ireland went up and stood in front of the All Blacks during the haka and stood right into their faces, and the All Blacks beat them by about 57 points thereafter.
Well, what's going to happen?
These things can be...
what's going to happen now is the Dubs are going to come out, they're going to charge down to Hill 16, and you're going to have a lot of incident.
I think Mickey's calling them away. I think he's calling them out of there.
Yeah. This is actually now, for me, this is deflecting from their own. You should be focused at this stage, not get involved in stuff like this.
See, the thing that Mayo need to do in this match in the first 20 minutes is hold the tail of the tiger, because the Dubs are going to come out like a whirlwind, as they have in every game, and they're going to try and blow them away. And unless Mayo can hold them in those first 15 or 20 minutes, it could turn into a rout. On the other hand, if they do hold them, Dublin will become nervous, and the game could get very interesting indeed, because Mayo are very good at winning possession and nearly every facet of the game apart from scoring.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. Mayo need to get over the first 20 minutes without conceding a goal. And that's very important to them. And the other thing they need to do is to be going in half time, definitely not more than 2 or 3 points behind. If they're not close at half time, then they're going to struggle big time the second half.
I'm fascinated, gentlemen, to see what's going to happen in the next couple of minutes when Dublin run out. Will Dublin go down to the same end? Will they go down to the hill?
There's no doubt about that. And okay, people will say, looking at television, Dubs don't own Croke Park, so any team should be entitled to go down. But why stir up a racket before the game? You know, the time to do the talking is when the referee throws in the ball, and there's no point in having unnecessary confrontation before the game starts.
Except, I suppose, Joe, it adds a little bit of drama to the whole thing, doesn't it?
Which is an amazing statement coming from O'Rourke.
Well, you know, I go back to say you do your talking when the match is on.
The boxing matches that the Meath fellas had with Dublin, they didn't regard that as drama. They just regard that as normal.
Unnecessary confrontation was part and parcel of the game.
Yeah, but the thing about the Dublin, and the one thing I always admire, you know, we absolutely flaked hell out with one another over a 10-year period. We met in, I think, 5 or 6 Leinster finals in a row. But the one thing about Dublin, whether they were given or taken, when the match was over, there was never a complaint. Never a complaint, no matter how you beat them.
Listen, I think it's a sort of a futile gesture, but on the other hand, it's stirring up the crowd, it'll stir up the Dubs, and it creates the right atmosphere for a real battle, you know, and expect the first 15 minutes to be absolutely frenzied out there now, which is what we want.
The second team is normally out within 2 minutes of the first team. That's the normal procedure. Now, obviously, that time has passed, so I suspect that Dublin are looking at the situation now before they come out and see what might happen.
They have TVs in their teams.
No, there they are. Look, you see, they're waiting.
What they have done is they sent for Boutros Ghali or Kofi Annan, or asked Bertie Ahern to go down there and see would he be able to move the loud players from that area before there's a racket. But it's coming soon.
Yeah, it is.
They're going to have to hold. This is like the start of the heavyweight boxing championship, you know, where they're eyeing each other, and the first man to look down, the first man to flinch loses the psychological advantage, you know.
There's the OK Corral here, and Wyatt Earp is on his way out now in a second.
or it's like the, what do you call it, the World Wrestling Federation stuff, you know, where they're pretending to be beating each other up in the dressing room.
That's right, I'll rip your head off type stuff.
It mightn't be pretend now.
Well, it's fun anyway, you know, it's fun, and it'll sort of stir up the hornet's nest.
I think this is, anybody who's wondering what's going on at home now will be enjoying the next 3 or 4 minutes, because it's going to be certainly very interesting.
Well, Dublin are being announced anyway by the stadium announcer, so here they do come. Brian Cullen leads them out.
Either it'll be a psychological masterstroke for Mickey Moran and John Morrison, or it'll backfire spectacularly, so we wait with interest to see how it all goes.
We're going to have obviously another 30 seconds to wait, because the first thing they have to do is get on the bench, have their photographs taken for this game, and then we're going to wait and see where they go.
Yeah, but behind all the sort of psychology of football, you know, people can dress up a lot of these things, and you should do this and you should that. Like, it still comes down to, have you the ability and the mental strength to keep going when things are tough during the game? And, you know,
there they go.
We're going to see now.
Oh, you boys,
they're probably going to link arms and go down is the usual thing here.
A good, big, long fist fight now.
But they look like the Roman army on the march at the moment, fellas, you know.
That's right. That's right. They're coming down to the hill. Look at this. It's great.
And Kieran Whelan have to be.
Kieran Whelan wants to get moving up, you say, get going at them.
Look at them. By God, I'll tell you, this is going to be a good contest.
I think this.
We may hold on to our hats.
The contest may start in the next couple of minutes when the looks of things at the moment. Now, will Mayo retreat? Because that would now be the thing to do for me. You haven't made your point, just...
No, I don't think we can give it up now.
They're not doing that.
Well, there you are. If they want to play it being silly buggers, that's what they're going to do.
Well, it's certainly going to liven up the Dublin support, and it means that they'll be getting even more noise behind them than usual. But again, like, you know, good players go out and they hear nothing, see nothing. Yeah. It's a field, and could play this game somewhere and there'll be nobody at it, and, you know, the top players will still be the top players, because they'll be able to put all the influences before the game, all the crowd, everything out of the system, and just get on with playing. And that's why quality players like Alan Brogan and you know, on Conor Mortimer and Brian Cullen and all these fellas, they'll still be the good players.
Oh, and it's starting. That's John Morrison, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah.
In the middle of that there.
John Pillar's just giving him a good shoulder charge.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of afraid to criticise Mickey Moran anymore, you know. I'm worried he'll come up to the box after the game. A little word
with Paul Caffrey. It's been a tough week for Paul Caffrey, of course. Colm, his nephew, died suddenly during the week, which obviously is. And John Maughan in the crowd there. John has a smile on his face. He's obviously enjoying some of this. But
the thing is, of course,
this is getting a bit silly. Brian Talty.
It's silly, but
Brian Talty with the glasses there, former Galway player, just obviously trying to separate the Dublin lads from the Mayo lads. Brian has played against Mayo many times, so.
And Brian has had his problems with Dublin.
Of course, the past, and Mr. Mullins, and
back to 1983.
Yes, so that's right.
And I see Kieran Duff there, who Kieran, a very quiet, unassuming player, never got into any trouble himself.
Much.
1983 as well.
Also, like, whenever Mayo fans are on this side of the pitch and the Dublin fans are on the other side of the pitch, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in a way. Like, but the first 5 minutes, what happens is you get all these frustrations out of your system in the first 5 minutes, and then the game just goes into its normal pattern. You know, whether or not it gives them a psychological edge is questionable, but I mean, it depends on their own mental strength, I suppose.
Well, Mickey is really wound up, isn't he?
Oh, Mickey's wound up, but I think that a manager would better off go over and sit on the line at this stage. You know, let the players get on with their business. And when it comes down to it, you know, we're going to see, is the Mayo forward line good enough to breach this Dublin back line? Now, the Dublin full back line have had their problems when the ball has been played in fast. Nobody has done it. Mayo are unlikely to do it today, let it in fast. But I think Conor Mortimer still can do a lot of damage.
He's well improved, isn't he, Colm, as a footballer?
Paddy Russell, the referee, is out in the middle of the field there with his two linesmen. Now, obviously, he, strictly speaking, Colm, doesn't have anything to do until this game starts and throw the ball in. But again, as you said, Joe, if this was a boxing big championship fight and you're the referee, I'd be going over and say, lads, separate now.
I suppose at this stage, if the Mayo boys flinch now and do go up to their own side, there'll be a huge roar and there'll be a sort of a, you know, the sense of defeat that goes with that. So even though it's silly now that they've started into it, they must stick with it. Like,
well, there are two men who are entitled to be beside each other, David Heaney and Brian Cullen, who is the Dublin captain on the day. Colin Moran is the team captain, the club captain if you want to call it, but not in the starting lineup in this. So Brian has the honour of captaining the side. Handshakes are done. We have to wait and see, of course, which way they're. I presume they're not going to both play in the same direction when the match starts.
I would say that Paddy Russell would prefer now if we could get the pre-match parade started, and at least that will bring an end to the sort of hostilities that have arisen so far and let them get on with the real game.
Yeah. Oh, it's all great fun. Well, I suppose it beats having to wait for the Dublin supporters to arrive, doesn't it?
Well, that's true. It'll just give them a window of opportunity to get here from the throw-in. But anyway, it's well filled up now.
It is. Okay, let's give you the lineups at this stage as they've been selected by the two counties with all the details. Here's Gerard Canning.
Thanks very much indeed, Michael. Well, Paul Caffrey and his Dublin selectors are in the happy position of being able to name the same starting 15 as that which started the quarter-final against Westmeath. Brian Cullen is now well and truly established at centre-half back, while the midfield pairing of Kieran Whelan and Shane Ryan is highly regarded. And up front, Mayo will know all about Tomas, better known as Mossy Quinn. In their league meeting last March, he scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. Mickey Moran left a vacancy in his published team at right half forward in the event. The spot goes to Billy Joe Padden, who together with David Heaney underwent the fitness test at lunchtime. Right half Aidan Higgins will remember his last match against Dublin. He was sent off within 5 minutes of coming on, while Conor Mortimer, Mayo's scoring star, knows all about some of the Dublin backs. He played with them for DCU in this year's Sigerson Cup victory. Michael, back to you.
Gerard Canning, thank you very much indeed. Best of luck in the commentary for this one. By the way, there is an official down injured in the middle of the field. Not quite sure exactly what happened there. Obviously, during the little exchanges between the two sides earlier on, he has been treated. You can see it on the right-hand side of the field there. Somebody has, apparently he was struck by a ball in the middle of that, obviously with all the kicking around and all the confusion. Somebody got a wallop. I'm not sure who it is, but hopefully he is okay. So, Colin, when the match actually starts, what's going to happen?
Well, I think that Dublin certainly will come out of traps now at 100 mile an hour. I think the first 5 minutes will be very interesting, both on and off the ball. And I'd say that Paddy Russell, who's, I've criticised him in the past, it wouldn't be my choice of referee for a game like this, which is going to be fairly frenzied.
He'll have his hands full now.
Yeah, the only thing, I suppose, he had experience of the Dubs match above in Tyrone, and he said that he was about to abandon that game, so maybe he understands the way that they are going to work. But
he couldn't have done too much about the silliness that particular day, I suppose.
I'm going to be interested in this Dublin rotating forward line. It's not something that I would agree that much. Like a fella like Brogan scores a brilliant point, and then he's out 60 yards being the provider for maybe the next score, and they keep rotating in this circular movement. And then what it means is that sometimes their best scorers are away out the field.
Yeah.
Whereas the likes of Kerry or Armagh will keep their best scorers close to the goal line. It's not something I think is in their best interest long term. It is working, so we can't complain too much about it. But it's something I'm wondering when they go out to field, what backs are going to follow them out, because you could end up, say, with half backs playing in the full back line as a result. Maybe that's the way that Dublin wanted, and it has caused enough disruption for them to score goals so far.
Yeah, a moment ago there we saw Paul Caffrey pointing to his head as the message is to focus now. That's what you have to do now after all this old shenanigan.
One thing that the Dublin team have had this year is an extremely strong sense of purpose and mission throughout. They've brought the zeal with them to every game. In truth, since the Longford game, they've blown everyone they've played out of the water. I mean, they've beaten them off the field. The game's been over after 20-25 minutes. Now, the difficulty is they just haven't the class forwards to take full advantage of the opportunities that they're creating. But unless Mayo can hold them in the first half and get into some sort of scoring rhythm themselves, way beyond anything they've been capable of so far, then the game could be a rout. Alternatively, if Mayo can score and stick with them, the game will be very interesting, because Dublin aren't Kerry or Armagh, they don't have that sort of class to emphatically
Passed away earlier this week. We will now have the national anthem sung by Elaine Canning from Sligo. Well, you can feel the hair standing on the back of your neck. Spine tingling is the best way to describe that rendition of Oran Naveen by the St Michael's Enniskillen Brass Band. And now Mayo and Dublin almost ready to lock horns in the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship semi-final. A very good afternoon to our listeners at KFM, at LMFM, at Radio Kerry, and also Midlands 103. You're very welcome to Midwest Radio Sports broadcast of the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship semi-final. We've had the pre-match pageantry, we've had some theatrics. We've also unfortunately had a member of the Mayo backroom team stretchered away after being struck by a football in the warm-up. And Billy Fitzpatrick, you'd be forgiven for thinking that if we get half as much drama in the next 70 minutes as we did in the 10-minute warm-up, we'll be fairly happy.
Yeah, I would say, Mike, the first 20 minutes will be interesting.
Let's have a look at the matchups. Kieran McDonald's at full forward for Mayo. There's one that's caught us all on the hop. The Mayo defence is here, there and everywhere. They've gone man on man. We'll bring you up to speed in a couple of minutes. The Mayo full back line at the moment is Dermot Geraghty, David Heaney and Keith Higgins. The half back line, Aidan Higgins, Jimmy Nallen, Peadar Gardner. They've moved back to their correct positions. Paddy Russell, the referee from Tipperary, throws the ball in. The game is on, and Dublin will play into the hill in the first half. And here they come. Brian Cullen, big ball in on top of Keith Higgins. Higgins has dropped it. Chance straight away for Alan Brogan. Alan Brogan's kick blocked down superbly by David Heaney. We're led to believe that David Heaney had a fitness test this afternoon at 2:30. He had 2 or 3 different injuries that were niggling at him. He's passed the fitness test. He starts. Billy Padden also starts. He fills the vacancy left at another. Peadar Gardner racing down towards the Old Canal end, the new Davin stand. Hand passed inside towards Kieran McDonald. Ball breaks free and Gardner has it again. Number 7 on his back, but he's standing at right half forward. Kieran McDonald, the playmaker, into the centre. Poor ball, easily cut out by Kieran Whelan. You could cut the atmosphere with a knife here in Croke Park. Whelan, low ball, first time down towards Alan Brogan. Man and ball slide out over the line. Line ball to Mayo, back on their own 21-yard line. Check on the team beginning with Mayo. John Healy or David Clark in goal. Full back line, Dermot Geraghty, David Heaney, Keith Higgins. Half back line, Aidan Higgins, James Nallen, Peadar Gardner. At midfield, Ronan McGarity and Pat Hart. The half forward line, Billy Padden, Ger Brady, Alan Dillon. The full forward line, Michael Conroy, Conor Mortimer and Kieran McDonald. That's what the numbers tell us. The positions slightly different. Ger Brady, huge booming clearance, 50 yards in on top of the full forward line, and Michael Conroy is beaten. He was in behind and David Henry was out in front, and David Henry, the cornerback from Raheny, first time ball right across the field, switching the point of the attack. Coleman Goggins, the left half back, faced by Billy Padden, and Billy Padden will not let him pass. In goes Padden, got a boot to that ball. Ronan McGarity, first time, top of the toe, pulls in it soccer style. It's going down towards the far side. Michael Conroy racing out. David Henry he has for company, and again the Dublin cornerback got there first, playing from the front, free to Dublin. This game has started at a helter-skelter pace. The Dublin team in goal, Stephen Cluxton. The full back line, David Henry, Barry Cahill, Paul Griffin. The half back line, Paul Casey, Brian Cullen and Coleman Goggins. At midfield, Kieran Whelan and this man Shane Ryan. The half forward line, Conal Keeney, Alan Brogan, Ray Cosgrove, and the full forward line, Jason Sherlock, Kevin Bonner and Mossy Quinn. Racing out from the full forward line comes Conal Keeney. Heaney's marking Keeney. David Heaney, the Mayo captain, slapping and pulling and dragging and knocks that ball away from the grasp of Keeney. Fairly and squarely, says the referee. And now Dermot Geraghty, the pocket rocket, 5'7" of pure power. Geraghty comes driving out from right corner back. Hand pass to Ronan McGarity, 6'5" midfielder, the basketballer, the bookmaker. McGarity hopping off Kieran Whelan. He's won his free, and McGarity just saying to Paddy Russell, is this what he wanted? Holds up the size 5 to Kieran Whelan, drops it on the carpet and trots away, and Mayo have a free. Billy Fitzpatrick, we've played 2 minutes and 40 seconds and Mayo have settled. They've settled well.
They've settled very well, and full back line doing very well. David Heaney, a few great interceptions there. The whole back line doing very well so far.
Free to Mayo, it'll be taken by Peadar Gardner, the man from Crossmalina. Gardner down towards Jimmy Nallen, his clubmate. Ball touched the Dublin man on its way out over the line. Line ball again to Mayo. So much spoken earlier in the week that the first 15-20 minutes are vital for Mayo. They need to settle, they need to knock Dublin off their stride. Poor line ball by Billy Padden, picked up by Paul Casey. Paul Casey inside to Coleman Goggins, and a first time ball in on top of Mossy Quinn. Quinn got the faintest of touches to knock it in towards J.O., but across comes David Heaney. David Heaney scoops it up, hand pass short to Pat Hart. Now Aidan Higgins just pirouettes away from the tackle. Aidan Higgins short to Peadar Gardner. Mayo building from the back and keeping out of contact, and Dublin just taking a moment to get into their stride. Aidan Higgins slips the first tackle, kicks the ball in long in towards Michael Conroy. Kieran McDonald, the nearest man to him. McDonald wants and McDonald gets. Kieran McDonald, short pass to Conor Mortimer. Mortimer takes a look at the target, he's going to pull the trigger. Mortimer up and over. Mayo take the first score. We've played 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and it comes from their top scorer in the championship, Conor Mortimer. It was beautifully done. Aidan Higgins, Michael Conroy, Kieran MacDonald, Conor Mortimer. Not a Dublin player laid a glove on it, and Mortimer swings it over to bring his total in the championship to 1 goal and 29 points.
Yeah, great move all the way from the back there, Mike. David Heaney, once more a great interception by David, great block down, moved the ball right across the field, and then it ended up with Kieran MacDonald giving it to Conor, and Conor didn't delay, kicked it straight over the bar.
Croke Park, the 4th largest stadium in Europe, is rocking and rolling to the Mayo beat. They're a point in front, and Alan Dillon has acres of space. He's 21 yards out into Conor Mortimer. Dublin are being knifed apart. Mortimer kicks, and Mortimer has driven it out to the left and wide, and across comes Brian Cullen with a little word in his ear. They played Sigerson football together with DCU. They might be friends in college, Billy. They're not friends today.
No friends today, but that was a goal chance, Mike. The goalie was staring him in the face. He should have stuck that in the back of the net. That was a bad miss.
As Billy Fitz often says, he could see the whites of Stephen Cluxton's eyes there, Conor Mortimer. He shot on the turn, he drove it wide, and Mayo still lead by a point to no score. 5 minutes gone. Stephen Cluxton, the Dublin players call him Clucko. Good kick out, finds his man. His man is Conal Keeney. The Dublin attack has started to rotate. Kieran Whelan, low ball into the corner. The man in the corner at this stage is Keeney, racing out to try and win that ball. He's there in front of David Heaney. He's won his free, and he will slow things down. Mayo are trying to force the pace, Billy, in these first couple of minutes, and Dublin look like they're looking for that second wind.
Yeah, the Mayo are taking the game to Dublin, and they seem to have a lot of space up front in the forward line. They're well spaced out, and Croke Park is a big spot. They opened up the defence totally there. Alan Dillon was left all in his own free, done everything right, really, give the ball to Conor right in a great position to score.
Free to Dublin out there on the right wing, and the man who will take it is Conal Keeney. Hasn't struck it well. David Clark came and missed, and this could be dangerous. Chance for Dublin. Ball has just ran away from the goal though. The angle is getting tighter and tighter. Alan Brogan comes out to try and scoop up possession. He's 10 or 12 yards away from the hill. Still Brogan trying to come in along the end line. Keith Higgins picked his pocket, knocks that ball out over the line. Umpire says it's a 45. Keith Higgins does not agree, but David Clark came there, tried to claim that ball, and didn't make it, Billy.
Yeah, it was a dodgy one, really. It went through David's legs, and I think it was number 13 for Dublin, Jason Sherlock, who was nipping in there behind the defence. Nearly got a touch done, put it into the net, and we could do without that kind of a scare early on, because defence, we're holding steady so far, and this is a big kick now for Tomás Quinn.
Just looking at the Mayo defence, it looks like they're holding their positions and picking up the player that comes to their particular sector of the field. There was some speculation, a lot of speculation earlier in the week, that Mayo would go man to man, but after the first 15-30 seconds it looks like they're playing in their traditional positions. 45 to Dublin. Mossy Quinn to take, kicking into the hill. He struck it well. It comes back up the post. Danger. David Heaney though, a cool head in a crisis situation, and he comes driving out from the goal, dropped the ball, and then got a hand to it to knock it to Pat Hart, who's surrounded by a wall of blue jerseys, and J.O. Sherlock got a hand in, and Pat Hart has overcarried, says the referee Paddy Russell. Dublin get their free. They worked hard. They closed Pat Hart down. They denied him time and space. They forced him into the error, and that technical foul undoes a lot of the good work done by David Heaney, who has started well. The Mayo captain, who we believe is carrying a number of niggling injuries. Certainly he was treated quite a lot last Sunday here by the Mayo team. Dr. Fergal Ruan picked up a lot of injuries against Laois. Free to Dublin. Again it'll be Mossy Quinn. He missed the 45. He struck this free wide on the right. Well, that will not do Mossy Quinn's confidence any good at all. He trots back into the corner to Dermot Geraghty. 2 scoreable chances for Mossy Quinn, Billy, and he's missed both.
Has missed both, Mike. Definitely, they're a little bit nervous, Dublin. I think it's this favours tag has certainly affected them big time, and who knows, this could be Mayo's day.
We've played 8 minutes in the All-Ireland football semi-final, and Mayo lead by a point to no score. The point kicked by Conor Mortimer, their top scorer in the championship. Here's Jimmy Nallen. He played senior championship football back in 1995. So too did the man he's marking, Jason Sherlock. Ball driven down along in towards the Mayo full forward line. Out in front was Barry Cahill. Cahill, first time ball to Paul Casey, and here goes Brian Cullen. First chance for the Dublin centre back to stretch his legs. Cullen's going to drop it in, a dangerous ball, but David Clark kept his eye on it all the way. The Mayo keeper came, was strong, and now feeds Dermot Geraghty, the right corner back, trying to solo it out past his man Mossy Quinn. Not a good idea. Quinn's won the ball back. Mossy Quinn under pressure from Geraghty. Dermot Geraghty standing his ground. 2 strong men in opposition. Referee Paddy Russell said that Dermot Geraghty was pushing and dragging and fouling, It'll be a free in to Dublin, and that just shows you the folly, Billy, of bringing the ball into the tackle.
Yeah, certainly, but the Mayo backs are standing very steady, Mike, and doing very well. And you know, any frees they're giving away, they're difficult ones for Tomás Quinn, and the more he misses now, the more his confidence will drain, and those hard frees, he's not getting any easy ones. So this is certainly a big kick for him again.
Billy, let's cast your mind back. The last time you and I spoke about the nut, I do believe, was back in May. The nut is forming right in front of us. Mayo are playing that tight three-man line again.
It's back again, I'm afraid, Mike, but you know, we'll concentrate on what's happening out here now.
Mossy Quinn with a free for Dublin at the other end, kicking into the hill. He's 0 from 3. He's missed another one. Out to the right and wide, and Mossy Quinn's confidence is visibly shaken. He didn't get the first 45. It struck the post again, back into play. He's now missed 2 frees from vastly different angles. But I can tell you, down in front of the old canal end, Mayo are playing a full forward line as near to the nut as makes no difference. Kieran MacDonald, Conor Mortimer and Michael Conroy no more than 5 yards away from each other. They will then be expected to spread to the wings when the ball is delivered. Pat Hart takes the kick out confidently, back to Jimmy Nallen. Jimmy Nallen inside towards Ronan McGarrity. McGarrity bottled up and fouled in a free to Mayo, and the man from the Stephenites will take it. Spots Jimmy Nallen making a burst down along the left hand side. Jimmy Nallen pushing his body to the limits to get there, slides in bravely, gets a toe to it to knock into Michael Conroy, the man from Davits. Conroy tight to the sideline. The nearest man to him is David Henry. Henry does well. He's a real neat and tidy corner back, and he does well. Hand pass that ball into space to Paul Casey, another man who won a Sigerson with DCU earlier this year. Casey's pass across towards Kieran Whelan, and Ronan McGarrity took man and ball, bundled them out over the line ball to Mayo. Good play by Ronan McGarrity. He has started this game like he means business, the bit firmly between his teeth, and it's a line ball to Mayo. I see Mickey Moran telling the linesman down in front of us to watch the pushing and shoving. MacDonald takes the line ball. He struck it beautifully. It's gone over the bar. Well, Kieran MacDonald has started this game with customary style. We've played 11 minutes. He's just pointed an audacious line ball from the left wing, and Mayo lead by 2 points to no score, and the only sound coming from the hill now, Billy, is the sound of silence.
Yeah, it's very silent. That's a typical MacDonald free there with the outside of the boot, Mike, straight over the bar. At this stage, I want to say hello to all the Brophies and Fitzpatricks listening in Boston.
I hope they're enjoying us just as much as we are. This is what championship football is all about. Mayo have started here in real style. Alan Dillon racing across to scoop that ball up on the turn. Dillon holding off his man. We heard a lot about Dublin's physical strength. Mayo are throwing them out of their way. Dillon shoots, Dillon scores, and Mayo are flying just now. They've hit 3 points, each one better than the last. That one from 45 yards from Alan Dillon, and he threw Paul Casey out of his way, Billy.
Great play for Mayo, you know, and at this stage of the game, Mike, they just seem to have the legs on Dublin. You kind of feel that at the moment. If they're able to last this pace is the other thing, but you know, Dublin are playing second fiddle in most departments at the moment.
Listen to that roar. It's the sound of Roscommon, Leitrim and Mayo supporters roaring in behind one another to support Mickey Moran's team. Mayo have started here in whirlwind fashion. They lead by 3 points to no score. We've played 12 minutes in the first half, and here they come again. Ger Brady, the sunshine beating down on his back. He's been tackled high around the neck by Jason Sherlock. He's been fouled, and the referee Paddy Russell will take Jason Sherlock aside for a quiet word, and Ger Brady is down and injured, and he was just about to set off on a run there to go right through the heart of the Dublin defence. And so much was speculated, Billy, in the build up to this game about tactics, formations, what way Mayo would line up. Whatever they've done, it's working.
Well, I think they're all, you know, tuned into this game big time, Mike, you know, and fairness to the whole team, they're just playing out of their skins at the moment, and everything they're doing seems to be working. It's one of those days that everything seems to be going right for Mayo. Every break is coming their way. Everything they're doing, every shot they're taking at the goal is going over the bar so far.
The sound of "Come on, you boys in blue" echoes around Croke Park. Jimmy Nallen receives attention. Kieran MacDonald will take the free. He struck it well, but not quite well enough. It's tailed out to the right and wide. Jimmy Nallen just patched up there by the Mayo medical team, and the 31-year-old centre back, two-time All-Star, is marking at the moment Kevin Bonner, who seems to be playing at centre forward right now. And Dublin's full forward line comprised of Conal Keeney, Jason Sherlock and Mossy Quinn. That's their inside line just now. Possession from the kick out, won by Mayo. Ger Brady, Pat Hart, and now Jimmy Allen. 2 Ballina men, and then a man from Crossmalina. Now Alan Dillon from Ballintubber. Low ball chipped into the path of McDonald. Beautiful ball. Dillon's continued his run. McDonald tries to go through the full-back Barry Cahill instead of around him. You can do that when you've got the strength of Kieran McDonald. McDonald's been fouled. The black book for Barry Cahill. A free in, and that was sheer power, Billy.
Sheer power, but a great run by McDonald, and a great vision by the Mayo half-back line to pick him up with that ball. He came right across the field to come onto it, and he has, Barry Cahill doesn't know where he's playing at the moment. He's trying to follow McDonald, and McDonald is getting loads and loads of space at this stage. And if he keeps playing like that, then we could be in for a major shock here today.
Well, everybody thought in the build-up that Kieran McDonald would start on the 40. That would bring him into direct conflict with Brian Cullen. It hasn't happened that way. Ger Brady's at centre forward, wearing 11, and Kieran McDonald is sitting just in front of Conor Mortimer and Michael Conroy in an advanced position, and it's working a treat. Conor Mortimer with this free, 40 yards out, kicking into the canal end from the hands. He's caught it well, but it's going to drop short. Out comes Stephen Cluxton, taking no chances, uses the fist to drive it clear, and Shane Ryan comes in acrobatically, using his strength there to win that ball and hold off Michael Conroy. Shane Ryan gives it backwards to the cornerback David Henry. Henry outside to Alan Brogan, and now on the overlap is the Barry Cahill, the fullback. Barry Cahill hurdles the first tackle, not the second. He's hand passed it to Conor Mortimer. Kieran McDonald's inside and loose. McDonald, chance of a goal for Mayo, inside to Dillon. He's flicked it. It's gone over the bar. That was beautiful one-touch football by Mayo. Beautiful stuff. Conor Mortimer stole the ball, popped it inside to McDonald, he to Dillon, and Dillon just flicked it over the bar, didn't even look at the goalpost, flicked it over his head, up and over, and Mayo lead by 4 points to no score. We've played a quarter of an hour.
Yeah, Alan Dillon continues where he left off in the both Laois games. Was outstanding, magnificent in those 2 games. He has come right into this game in top form, but you have to say that Conor Mortimer and Kieran McDonald looks very, very sharp.
20 minutes remaining to the half-time break, and Mayo are doing as they please. Ronan McGarrity scrapes the sky to win that ball, but he was fouled on landing. In fact, Paddy Russell said he was fouling. Free to Dublin, taken quickly, driven down towards Ray Cosgrove. He has Mayo connections. Cosgrove's kick balloons up in the air. It'll drop like a Gary Owen in on top of Kevin Bonner. Bonner has it, trying to make room for himself. Outside to Mossy Quinn. Mayo's defence harassing them, pushing them back out again. This is Alan Brogan. Chance for Brogan. He's blazed it wide up into the hill, and nothing is going right for Dublin, Billy.
Yeah, well, you have to give great credit to the Mayo backline, Mike. They're putting awful pressure on them, and Dublin are getting nothing, any kind of a free kick in. They're very, very crowded down there. They're not creating any space, and they're finding it very hard to get into any kind of rhythm. But you'll have to say that that's because Mayo are playing so well.
Paul Caffrey, the Dublin manager, looks a worried man, pacing the line, alone with his thoughts. His team are 4 points to no score down. They haven't scored in the first 16 and a half minutes. Now Alan Brogan, the bright boots, soloing in along in front of the Cusick stand. Low ball in on top of Conal Keeney. Flick back outside. This is a chance. Racing through. He's gone for the goal. It's gone up. It's gone over the bar. Score for Dublin. Score for Conal Keeney. It's taken 17 minutes to arrive, but they badly needed that score. They won possession for the kick out. Alan Brogan fed it inside. Conal Keeney came galloping through to take the little pop pass from Kevin Bonner, and he drove that ball over the bar. He was taking no chances, and Dublin are off the mark. McGarrity's been caught very high by Kieran Whelan, and Paddy Russell didn't like it, and McGarrity is down, and this will be a yellow card surely for the Dublin midfielder. Ronan McGarrity went soaring into the clouds, so did Whelan, but he caught the Mayo midfielder around the neck, and he came tumbling to the ground. Paddy Russell's gone reaching for the book, and Dublin, well, Whelan's been shown a yellow card, but it's just been that kind of a day so far for Kieran Whelan. He just can't get there.
Yeah, he's not getting into the game, Ronan McGarrity doing very, very well in midfield. He took a heavy knock there in the head now, and hopefully he'll be able to get up after this.
So Mayo lead Dublin by 4 points to 1. It's the first time they've met in the championship since 1985. That was the year of Pádraig Brogan's goal, John Finn's broken jaw, Billy Fitz point into the hill, and Mayo's near miss, beaten after a replay, 2-12 to 1-7. The draw is an offer today at odds of 8 to 1, but at the moment it's Mayo who are playing all the football. They lead by 4 to 1. Ronan McGarrity is still down and still injured, and in administering attention is Dr. Fergal Ruan, checking on his well-being. McGarrity, if he was forced off at this early stage, would be a huge loss. I see a cluster of Mayo subs warming up. Barry Moran, Austin O'Malley and David Brady are just warming up here, just down in front of us, in front of the Hogan stand. Mickey Moran just standing a couple of yards in front of Kieran Gallagher and John Morrison. The Mayo management team, they have led their team to 12 victories out of 17 competitive matches in 2006. They've lost just 3 times this year. One of those defeats to Dublin back in March, but they have learned from that lesson. The game is back on again. McGarrity's been patched up and Mayo take the free, driven into the corner towards Conor Mortimer. It's all go here in Croke Park. Conor Mortimer to Mickey Conroy, back to Mortimer again. Mortimer elusive, back to Ger Brady. He's going to go for the score. He struck it well, it's on its way, chalk it down. Ger Brady splits the posts with consummate ease, and Mayo lead by 5 points to 1, and it's like watching poetry in motion, Billy.
How do you beat a team like that, Mike? You know, when you're in that kind of form, you know, and you know, it's very early in the game to say this, but you know, they're looking like a team that's going to do nothing wrong today.
And Dublin, Billy, on the other hand, look like a team. The weight of expectation is just crushing them.
It is indeed. It's crunching them, yeah, and it's really affecting them. They're not in this game at all.
Dublin, they look lethargic, they look heavy-legged, but we're a long way from home. 19 and a half minutes gone only in the first half of this All-Ireland semi-final. Kerry waiting patiently in the final. Long ball in from Shane Ryan. Out in front was Conal Keeney. He's such a big, strong man. The target man flicked off inside to Goggins, to Cosgrove. Chance for Ray Cosgrove, kicking with the left into the hill. It's gone up, it's gone over the bar. Good score by Ray Cosgrove. So simple, so effective. Shane Ryan gathered and fed that long ball into Keeney. He popped it off to Goggins to Cosgrove, and Ray Cosgrove took his score with real style. 5-2, 20 minutes gone.
Yeah, we said during the week, Mike, if we were with Dublin in the first 20 minutes, we were there with a chance. Well, we were well and truly there with a chance, because we were 5-2 up and looking good.
Ray Cosgrove, a nephew of Father John, who won an All-Ireland minor medal with Mayo back in the 50s. He's kicked that score, and now Mayo's lead is back to 3. Jason Sherlock, who's come roving to try and win the ball, the only man in the Dublin team with an All-Ireland medal from 95. Big high ball, dropped by David Heaney, dropped into the lap of Kevin Bonner, but he struck that shot wildly away from the goal, and David Clark escorts it out over the line, and it's a wide ball, and Mossy Quinn is protesting that he was fouled by David Clark, but the referee Paddy Russell is not interested. Paddy Russell, interestingly, the man who refereed the 1995 All-Ireland final when Dublin beat Tyrone to win their last Sam Maguire Cup, and bidding this year to get back into the final for the very first time since. Kick out from David Clark, broken down by Ronan McGarrity, but only as far as Ray Cosgrove. He's lost Peather Gardner. Cosgrove kicking, plenty of height on it. It's curling. It won't quite curl enough. It's gone out to the right and wide. That's Dublin's 5th wide. Mayo have kicked just 2, and some of Dublin's wides, Billy, have been really poor.
I have, you know, a few very good chances there to get back into the game, but they're just not getting them, they're just not kicking them. But they are, in the last couple of minutes now, Mike, coming more and more into the game around half-back and midfield. So, you know, this game is far from over. 3
more Mayo subs warming up. James Gill, John Healy and Andy Moran just keeping the blood pumping through the veins as David Clark, his kick out drops. That's a wonderful take by Pat Hart. Went into the air all on his own and came down with the football. Fisted across to Alan Dillon. Dillon holding that left half forward pocket for the moment, trying to take on his man Paul Casey. Dillon, so elusive, he's here, there and everywhere. Chipped inside to Conor Mortimer. Beautiful ball. Conor turns, kicks, it's dropping, dangerous ball again, but Stephen Cluxton came, was strong, was confident, took it into the breadbasket and fisted out to Coleman Goggins, who had the ball under control and then dropped it. Now Conor Mortimer trying to force him backwards. Goggins inside to Kieran Whelan, who sometimes looks as if Croke Park is his backyard, makes a couple of yards and strokes a beautiful pass to the far side to Sherlock. 50 yards out, popped in towards Mossy Quinn. Quinn is there in front of Dermot Geraghty, inside and roaring for his Kevin Bonner, but Quinn can't slip away from Geraghty. Back outside to Alan Brogan. Brogan slips inside his marker, he's gone for the goal, brilliant save, rebound, it's a goal. It's a goal for Dublin, it's a goal for Conal Keeney, and the hill is alive. Mayo 5 points, Dublin 1-2, and in one fell swoop all Mayo's hard work has been wiped out. The shot from Brogan, the save from David Clark, and Conal Keeney, the right man in the right place at the right time to side foot the ball to the empty net. The Hill are on their feet, they're singing again. The sides are level after 23 minutes.
Great run by Brogan, you'd have to say. He took on the Mayo defence, he shoved down the boot, he got clear, he took a shot, and the rebound fell to Keenan, and he put it in the ball in the back of the net.
The fat is back in the fire. 5 points to 1-2. Game on here at Croke Park in the All-Ireland semi-final. Here's Pat Hart. He's growing into a serious inter-county footballer this summer. Hart has made 30 or 40 yards, but he took too much out of that ball. There were colleagues screaming for the pass inside. Hart didn't give it, and now Shane Ryan sprinting down along in front of the Cusick. Pat Hart can't stay with them, or can he? Still Ryan, 60, 70, 80 yards. This is some run, but can he finish? Popped off. The hill will erupt if this goes over. That is a wonderful score from Ray Cosgrove. Shane Ryan ran 80 yards, ferrying that ball towards the Mayo post. He fed Ray Cosgrove, he drove it over the bar, and Dublin lead for the very first time after 24 minutes. Crisis for Dublin. What crisis?
Yeah, and two Dublin men clashed there in the middle of the field. I think it was Whelan and I'm not so sure it was a Bonner. They both went down there, Mike, but by God, what a save by Shane Ryan, and what a run by Shane Ryan. He ran 70 yards up Croke Park, put the ball to Cosgrove for a great point. Shane Ryan is the man that's keeping Dublin there in this game today. He's absolutely outstanding around the centre of the field.
Billy, what are Mayo thinking now? They led here by 5 points to 1 after 19 minutes. 5 minutes later, they're a point down. Well, Dublin have hit them with a double whammy.
We're in a game. We're in the game we expected to be in, Mike.
Certainly, this game is very much alive. Mayo, who played wonderful football to go into a 5-1 lead, now find themselves a point behind after 25 minutes. Everybody that was injured has been patched up again. The two Dubs and Dermot Geraghty. Everyone restored to their full complement. The kick out finds its way eventually to Kieran MacDonald, who's drifted just a little bit deeper. Now Alan Dillon taking the ball in the left half forward spot. Heading towards him at pace is Kieran MacDonald, who wants the short pass. Dillon gives it to him, one playmaker to another. MacDonald soloing back towards the halfway line, takes a little look up, spots a run inside. Beautiful ball. He's picked out Aidan Higgins. Higgins 21 yards out. Was he fouled? Did he fall or was he pushed? He fell, says Paddy Russell. Now Michael Conroy back inside to Higgins. Chance of a goal for Higgins. He'll take his point. He fists it up and over the bar, and the sides are level. Aidan Higgins getting forward for the very first time in this game. He just stole away. Well, Dublin have had to make a double change.
Number 22, Declan Lally.
Darren McGee and Declan Lally have come in. It looked like Kieran Whelan and Kevin Bonner were fit to continue, but not so.
It looks like Ronan McGarrity is in serious trouble, I think, Michael. Maybe concussion. He seems to be in trouble.
Well, the medic teams have been kept busy here in the first 26 minutes, and at this moment in time it's Mayo's medical team that are out on the field attending to Ronan McGarrity. Dublin have had to make that double change because of the injury to Kieran Whelan and Kevin Bonner, who collided. Darren McGee and Declan Lally are in, and now the question is, will Ronan McGarrity be fit to continue at least until half time? It looks like he will. He's picked himself up, he's dusted himself down, and he's told Dr. Fergal Ruan that he will be okay to continue. Dr. Fergal Ruan is just consulting with Mickey Moran. Game restarts with a kick out from Stephen Cluxton. That point from Aidan Higgins was his second score in the championship. We're level again at Croke Park. Dublin 1-3, Mayo 6 points. The football is with Alan Brogan. Alan Brogan, number 11 on his back, son of Bernard, second cousin of Porrick, the bomber Brogan from Knockmore. Low ball into the corner towards Ray Cosgrove. He's really started this game well. He has 2 points from play from Peather Gardner. Will he make it 3? It's close across the face of the goal, but out comes David Clark. Clark took that ball again confidently. Good clean hands. Inside to Pat Hart, and now out to the far side to David Heaney, who's discarded the gloves. Heaney, short hand pass to Peather Gardner, inside to Pat Hart. High, big, booming ball down on top of Mickey Conroy. Conroy jumped. He was the meat in a Dublin sandwich. He's getting very little change out of David Henry. Kieran MacDonald comes in. Alan Dillon comes in. Dublin man on the ground. Dublin man up again. It's the number 18, the sub, Darren McGee. Big, strong man from Kilmacud Crokes. McGee comes out with the football tucked in under his oxter. Long ball in front of Mossy Quinn. Dublin beginning to motor. Quinn inside. Chance of a goal for Keeney. Keeney fists it up and over the bar. He took his point. There was certainly a goal on, but Dublin have found their stride, no question about it. Big Darren McGee used all his power to win that ball and drive it in towards the danger area. Mossy Quinn, lovely pass to set Conal Keeney in on goal. He took his point and Dublin lead again.
Yeah, and Kieran Whelan mightn't be the big loss that people think, because he wasn't playing well, and Darren McGee's a serious big footballer. He's a strong horse of a man that can move, catch, hit, and he's very strong, and he's been involved in the last few moves that Dublin made. He's won a few balls since he went in there, Mike.
Billy, Dublin have scored 1-4. Conal Keaney has scored 1-2. He's causing David Heaney problems.
He is, certainly is, yeah. He seems to be getting onto a lot of ball, and Dublin feeding him well, though. That last pass from McGee was spot on, right into his hands.
Remember, we're led to believe that David Heaney is not 100%. He was struggling with a series of injuries. He had a fitness test, we're led to believe, at 2:30 today before this game. He was past fit to play, and certainly he's getting the ultimate fitness test just now, trying to keep tabs on Conal Keaney down there in front of the hill. 29 minutes gone in the first half of the All-Ireland semi-final. You're listening to Midwest Radio Sport live from Croke Park, and Dublin lead Mayo by 1-4 to 6 points. And yes, it is that close. Line ball to Dublin, just down where the Hogan meets the canal end, just down here in front of us. Michael Conroy, his hands thrust up in the air. He doesn't agree with the linesman. Dublin get the decision. They'll take it in their own time. The man who'll take it is the left corner back, Paul Griffin. Griffin goes inside to David Henry, the other corner back, sells a dummy to Conor Mortimer. Usually Mortimer is the one doing the selling. Good hand pass from Henry inside to Brian Cullen, the stylish Dublin centre back, trying to run Ger Brady. Just steps inside Ger Brady and then drives it down. Again, there's a Dublin man out in front, Alan Brogan. Let the ball slip through his hands. They're coming in waves. This is Paul Casey. Take the pass from Ray Cosgrove inside to J.O. Sherlock. Sherlock trying to turn. He's gone for the goal. It struck the crossbar. Back into play, and Mayo saved by a lick of paint. David Clark was beaten. Sherlock's shot crashed off the crossbar. Back into play, and Mayo lived to tell the tale. But Dublin's forward line are really beginning to prize the Mayo defence apart. They're moving, they're rotating, their passing is exquisite, and Mayo hanging on for dear life. Ger Brady drives this ball in on top of Conor Mortimer. Michael Conroy, man of the burst is Dillon. Dillon into Conor. There's a goal on here. Conor Mortimer, chance of a score, takes his point. Well, that was a defence splitting move involving Alan Dillon and Conor Mortimer, and you can see Alan Dillon saying to Conor, why didn't you give it back to me? Mortimer took his point. The sides are level.
Goal on, Mike, no doubt. You know, when you get to Croke Park All-Ireland semi-final, you should be sticking those balls in the back of the net. The Dublin defence were opened up totally. Alan Dillon opened them up. He should have got it back. The ball should be in the net. A goal for Mayo. Those kind of chances, we'll rue them at the end of the game.
Well, that's the second time in 7 days that Conor Mortimer has kicked a point into the canal end with his right boot. He has been practicing hours and hours during the autumn and the spring and the winter down at DCU, practicing kicking with his right foot, and the practice makes perfect. Ronan McGarity is out of the game. That injury has caught up with him, and in comes Barry Moran. There's a whole new look to the midfield engine room now, but Ronan McGarity, who tried to battle on after picking up that knock, he has had to succumb to injury. He's out of the game for the moment at the very least, and in comes young Barry Moran from Castlebar Mitchells. He's been paired up with the other substitute, Darren McGee. Dublin have the football. Ray Cosgrove just inside the Mayo half, slipped down along the wing in front of the Hogan stand towards a colleague. The man with the ball, Conal Keaney. Keaney surrounded and fouled, says the referee Paddy Russell. Dublin have their free. 31 and a half minutes gone in the first half. It's been rip-roaring stuff. It's been entertaining, it's been dramatic, and we've had plenty of incident. Dublin 1-4, Mayo 7 points. The sides are level. Free to Dublin. Conal Keaney popped down in front of Alan Brogan. Yet to see Brogan cutting loose. He stepped away from Keith Higgins as if he wasn't there. Still Brogan. He's lining up for the goal. Brilliant block by Pat Hart. That ball struck him full in the side of the face. It was Aidan Higgins, in fact, who threw his body across in front of that goal-bound shot. He took the full force of the football. He's up. He's down again. He is most certainly the worse for wear, but you could see Alan Brogan. He dropped the shoulder, he got inside Keith Higgins, and he squeezed the trigger. He had goal on his mind, and Aidan Higgins has saved what would have been, Billy, an almost certain goal.
A certain goal indeed, Jan. When he gives one of those long hops, Mike, he's moving out of trouble and he's moving into a scoring position, and he just did that there. And you know, it's a big kick again now from Mossy Quinn, but you know, the Dublin confidence has risen somewhat now. But it's still a very, very even game, Mike. You know, it's anybody's game. Both teams playing very well. Both sets of forwards now getting on top of both sets of defences, you'd have to say.
Well, Alan Brogan, who possesses one of the hardest shots in Gaelic football. Incidentally, it was Alan Brogan who struck the ball in the warm-up that injured a member of the Mayo backroom team and meant they had to be removed from the field by stretcher. He also took that shot there that cannoned into the head of Aidan Higgins. But thankfully, from a Mayo perspective, Aidan Higgins is back on his feet again. He has received a little bit of medical attention and he is fit to resume. So a 45 to Dublin. Mossy Quinn kicking into the hill. Quinn around the house and mind the dresser, and over she goes. Dublin are back in front, and Mossy Quinn, who's endured quite a horrible afternoon really from the free taking perspective up to now. He struck that one right on the meat and sent it sailing over, and after 33.5 minutes Dublin are back in front, Billy.
Yeah, it was a tester for him, that one, because he had missed a few up to that, but I suppose his confidence has come up now, seeing that the Dublin play has improved somewhat.
So the Dublin team are back in front by the minimum, but Mayo have won possession of the kick out. Ger Brady shoveled inside to Peadar Gardner, 21 yards out. David Clark getting those kick outs away quickly inside to Michael Conroy. That's a wonderful kick, it's curling, the umpire says it's wide. Well, it looked a lot closer than that from up here. It wasn't that far wide.
I thought it actually was over, Mike, from here, but then the umpire might be in a better position. But I thought when it left his boot it was going over, but it just swung off out to the left of the post and wide.
The fourth official tells us that we will have at least 3 minutes of additional time at the end of this first half, and Mickey Moran, as he has been for much of the first half, just having another word in his ear. They've had a running conversation going for the last 34 minutes. Kick out from Stephen Cluxton again finds its man. Both goalkeepers using the quick kick outs. The man with the football is Declan Lally from St. Bridget's. Drives it in on top of the full forward Conal Keaney, but this time David Heaney has his number. David Heaney outside to Barry Moran in the shadow of the Cusack stand, 70 yards out from his own goal. Barry Moran, the Red Sox pulled up tightly to the kneecaps, short to Kieran MacDonald, who's drifted in and out of the game now during the second quarter. MacDonald spots the runner inside. The runner is Aidan Higgins pushing on from right half back, waits for MacDonald to arrive again. MacDonald takes a look at the target. He's going to go for his own score, but he's kicked it off the outside of his left boot. It's gone out to the left and wide, and Conor Mortimer was inside and free, and you can just see him roaring out to Kieran, just informing him that he was loose and he wanted that pass.
Yeah, we would hope that we wouldn't get away from the game plan that we had in the first 15-20 minutes that was working so well, with the forwards really combining and putting the ball around.
I see David Brady is warming up, Kevin O'Neill is warming up, and by the looks of things Kevin O'Neill is going to come into this game any moment now. We're into stoppage time at the end of the first half. Jason Sherlock for Dublin on the 45, just biding his time, took a toe tap, kicks with the left boot right across the face of the Mayo goal, and this is asking a lot of Alan Brogan, but he has space to burn. Brogan there in front of Keith Higgins. It's one of the great matchups. Brogan trying to come inside Keith Higgins. He's been fouled, and it's a free into Dublin. And for the first time in a long time, Billy, Keith Higgins has met a man with just as much pace as himself, if not even more.
Yeah, tremendous pace, Brogan. He's a complete footballer. He takes the ball into the tackle, he's able to hold on to it, and he gives that long loop and hop that takes him maybe 10 yards, and it's very hard for any defender to stay with him.
I can tell you the Ballina Town ladies have won the FAI Cup. They've beaten Ballincollig by 3-2. There'll be huge celebrations down in Ballina tonight. Will the Mayo footballers be joining them? Right now they have a game on their hands, but Conal Keaney has just driven a 13-metre free out to the left and wide, and that brings Dublin's wides tally to 6 in the first half. Mayo are making the change. They're taking out Mickey Conroy, Billy, and they're bringing in Kevin O'Neill.
Yeah, I suppose it wasn't one of Mickey's better days, but he was working hard in there, but it's a call the management team has made.
Billy, what's Kevin O'Neill going to bring to this Mayo attack? I see the Barry Cahill going into Markham straight away.
Yeah, well, he's very sharp, Kevin. He's good vision, good brain, very experienced player.
Kevin O'Neill's gone right into the edge of the square, literally just standing inside the white line. Kick out from David Clark, finds Peadar Gardner, back to David Heaney, and Heaney uses the boot to find Alan Dillon. Alan Dillon just inside the Dublin half of the field, now on the Hogan stand side, down towards Kevin O'Neill, the 32-year-old substitute, racing out in front of his man, sells one dummy, sells a second. O'Neill, this would be a dream start. Kevin O'Neill kicks and scores, and that is what you call an impact substitution. He's been on the field 10 seconds. He got out in front to win that ball, sold 2 dummies and threw it over the bar like he was having a kick around at the Nafina pitch.
Yeah, well,
1-5 to 8 points.
That's what Kevin O'Neill is capable of doing down through the years. He's very good at that, but he won that ball. That was a very hard ball. It came along the ground and he had an awful lot of work to do, and there was nobody really up in support. He had to do it all himself, and he did it.
We're 2.5 minutes into stoppage time, and the roar of Mayo rings around Croke Park. 82,500 people packed in like sardines, watching Mayo and Dublin go hammer and tongs. David Henry had it, lost it, and across comes Conor Mortimer. He's sharp today, Conor Mortimer. Little tight strap on the left kneecap. Mortimer kicks. That's a wonderful score. Conor Mortimer, much like Kevin O'Neill, like a man that was having a kick around on the Dalgan Road in Shrule. He got out in front of his man. He's threw a leg at it, and it just flew between the posts. Mayo lead by 9 points to 1-5, and that is Conor Mortimer in a nutshell.
That was a very important score, Mike. Just coming into half time, that was a noble, important score for Mayo, and fair play to Conor. You know, once he got a look at the goal and got a room to swing his left leg, he patted over the bar. But those two last points for Mayo from Kevin O'Neill and Conor Mortimer could be very vital scores before the end of this game.
Well, what a way for Mayo to end this first half. As Billy said, 2 points in the space of 60 seconds from Kevin O'Neill just on as a sub and Conor Mortimer mean that they go in at half time leading by 9 points to 1-5. They led after 19 minutes by 5 points to 1. Dublin have hit 8 points since then. It really is back in the melting pot. But Billy, when you look at the effort and the industry that Mayo have invested in that first half,
here at Croke Park, we're in the half-time break in the All-Ireland football semi-final between Dublin and Mayo. Mayo leading Dublin 9 points to 1 goal and 5 points. Joe Brodley and Colin Maruck have obviously been enjoying that with me. Looks like Kieran Whelan might be back, by the way, in the second half. He went off injured in the first half there. This is a cracking match so far.
It's a cracking match, and Kieran Whelan is lucky to be coming back at all on that tackle on Ronan McGarity, which has put him out of the game.
McGarity apparently has a trapped nerve in his neck, or he's something like that.
From the tackle?
Very
From
bad,
the tackle,
very bad tackle, but it's a wonderful game of football. And you know, I'm coming to Croke Park for 30 years. I don't think I ever saw Mayo playing so well. They have been just fantastic. They're the better team. They're fully deserving of their lead. They've gone out and really taken the game to Dublin. And what we have now is a massive game full of good endeavour, hard hitting, great scores, bad misses, you know, goal chances all around, but some wonderful individual performances like Conor Mortimer for Mayo has been brilliant.
I wonder before the match whether all the old shenanigans that going up the hill would actually deflect Mayo from the business. No question of that, it hasn't.
None whatsoever, and they've been the better team, and they've gained the upper hand psychologically as well. They're much more relaxed, they're playing with much greater freedom than the Dubs. They've only kicked 4 wides. They're really in the scoring groove, and they look like a very high-class
They got off to a cracking start. I mean, Mortimer has got 2 excellent points, one at the start of the game. Kieran MacDonald, the point from the sideline kick, it was great stuff.
Well, their first big achievement in the game was to slow up the Dubs in the first 10 or 15 minutes. They did that very well. Ronan McGarity was outstanding in the middle of the pitch. You know, Mayo didn't give the ball away. They played with aggression and tenacity. And nice confidence, nice easy confidence through the team. They're not seizing up now when they get scoring chances, they're just popping them over the bar. And as I say, they just look a very, very good Gaelic football team,
Mortimer is a different player this year. I think his time in DCU has served him well.
Yes.
He was brilliant.
Yes.
He's out there. He's given Griffin, who has put everybody, as Paul Griffin has marked sort of everybody, including Desi Dolan. He can't handle Mortimer. Nobody can this year.
Yeah.
And
look at this.
we've been hard on him in the past, but he's brilliant. MacDonald too, but the big thing with Mayo is they've played MacDonald close to goal, and they have the option of now kicking it in long, which they weren't doing at the beginning of the year, and it's working. It's working. It's putting awful pressure on the Dublin full-back line, who are really struggling, apart from David Henry, who has been very
excellent.
Good. But at the other side, Keith Higgins is getting a right roasting from Alan Brogan, and they want to do something like that because Brogan set up the goal and he's getting inside his man every time.
Got a clout in the head as well of the ball, probably didn't help Keith Higgins also.
But when Brogan runs at you like that, he's very difficult. He's very difficult to deal with because he's direct and he goes straight and he's strong. And if someone's going to make the difference for the Dubs today, it looks as though it'll have to be Brogan.
Having said all of that, I mean, I know halfway through the first half you wouldn't be saying Dublin kind of needed a goal. They kind of needed it to settle them down because they were doing nothing for the first 10 minutes.
Well, a goal is the oxygen of life to Dublin, particularly if they can get a goal at the hill end. And here we get Tomas Squid. A lot of fellas slipping and half slip there. But again, look at Brogan, quick feet, and when he gets the ball, no easy point, he's going for the kill, and of course Keeney is in the right place just to tap it in. Maybe the goalie a little bit unfortunate, gets a bit trapped under his legs.
To an extent at that stage it got Dublin out of jail because, Mayo really had closed them down pretty well, were very much in control of the game, and it really took that goal to bring Dublin back into it. The most important thing, of course, was that Mayo responded immediately.
Exactly.
So Dublin got the goal. They got a point to go a point up Dublin. Mayo have loaded back in slowly but surely, and Mayo are playing with ironclad confidence at the moment. So the first part of the job is done for Mayo. The hardest part is done in a way. I mean, they've shown they can play and they've shown they can score, but they must continue to play the way they're doing, because if they do, they can win the game.
Oh, they can. All right, we're headed for another break. Stay with us for more. That's right after that. Almost 82,000 people here in Croke Park enjoying this semi-final between Mayo and Dublin. Mayo leading by the single point, 9 points to 1-5. Just to repeat, we think Kieran Whelan may come back onto the second half of the Dublin team. Went off injured, he's receiving stitches at the moment. If you know, apart from the scores that we saw, Joe, in the first half, there was a lot of chances for both sides as well, goal chances on both teams.
Well, I mean, this has been, if you like, the Dublin nightmare. I mean, there was huge pressure on them before, but it's multiplied now because of the way that Mayo have played. I mean, Dublin have had no respite. Even when they got the goal, they thought probably, well, we're back on track now. Very quickly, Mayo were back at them again.
That was a beautiful flick there by Dylan. If he caught that ball, he was going to be in trouble. Great work by McDonald.
Had he not flicked it so well, he had a goal.
He had a goal. But
typical of their self-assurance.
Dylan has caused a lot of problems there. He scored 2 points from play, and he's really put Paul Casey under pressure. You know, Paul Casey has been dominating this year, but most of the Dublin backs are struggling.
Yeah.
But here we had another chance. That was a great chance of a goal, but it was the first point for Dublin. Very important
for
them.
Why he didn't come through, I don't know.
It's very important to get on the board, and anything at that stage. Dublin had gone 17 or 18 minutes without a score.
Yeah, and I mean, this was a great goal chance. Is this the one with Tomas Quinn? No, it's not. This is a different one. This is Cheo's that hit the crossbar.
Yeah.
And the best chance of the game was Mortimer's and Keeney's, but
the Dublin forwards have shown there that if they take on the Mayo defenders, they're getting by them very, very easily. And that should be the sort of thing that Paul Caffrey is saying to them in the dressing room in the forward line. Get the ball and attack your men any time, because Brogan is getting around Keith Higgins. J.O. Doe hasn't been a feature really in the game. Tomas Quinn started early, drifted out of it. Keeney a bit wild.
Yeah,
you know, they're
that kind of game, though, isn't it? Yeah. Joe, you were making the point.
Well, I mean, look, and I was saying that, you know, about it being sort of Dublin's nightmare in a way that everyone knows that Mayo have the capabilities, and up until now they have dominated games, but they've kicked wide after wide after wide. Today, they've got 9 points in the first half, 8 of them from play. Mortimer's got 3 points. He kicked 5 points in the Sigerson final, and you don't kick 5 points in the Sigerson final unless you're a very good footballer. And he's shown in game after game that he is. They're all playing with confidence. The pressure is multiplied on the Dubs now. You know, they're in a huge battle here now, and Mayo's tails are up, and we're going to see what the Dubs are made of in this half.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, Colin O'Rourke.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic game of football, and really, really enjoyable. Anybody who's sitting at home now, this is the real thing. It's a proper game of championship football played at a frantic pace. And Mayo have really taken the game to Dublin. And the great thing from a Mayo point of view was when Dublin got the goal, you know, they went out with this surge of enthusiasm start off, and they could have easily fallen in a hole. But what they have done is they've kept coming back at Dublin, and then they had a couple of chances, missed them. McDonald had an easy chance, or a chance. Mortimer had a chance, missed them. But they didn't lie down. They fought back, and they got those 2 great points. So they went into the dressing room much the happier group at half time.
They have to play their forwards, the Mayo forwards, into the hill now. Would that make any difference to them? Like, I mean,
no, I don't. I think that the groove that Mayo are in now, this is what happens to teams often when they're underdogs. They're in this groove. They're not paying any attention to the crowd now. They're just playing well. They're playing slickly together. It's all happening for them. And you know, the only fear obviously is the half time might disrupt their momentum a wee bit. I don't think there's a real risk of that. I mean, and you know, the pressure is very firmly on the Dubs now.
I feel by the way, Colin, that Kieran Whelan and I think Kevin Bonner, the 2 players from Dublin who was on the start of 15 who went off that time, I think they're both coming back on. So.
Yeah, well, it's a very costly thing for Mayo to have lost McGarity, because he was dominating Whelan. Whelan wasn't in the game at all, and his tackle was a tackle of a man with increasing frustration at his own performance. And he was very fortunate to stay on the field for it. You know, J.O. was given a yellow card. It was a high tackle, but it wasn't too dangerous. But the other one was, you know, in the red category.
In the red zone, and
but, you know, I still see with the likes of Mortimer shooting into Hill 16, he couldn't care less. He'd probably prefer even to be down there. He's that type of player. He'd love to stick one over the bar and throw his hand up at the hill. That's the type of player he is.
Once underdogs get on a roll, you know what it's like. There's that anarchic sense about the team. Everyone goes at their work with freedom. That's what Mayo were doing there at the moment. The ease with which they are slicing through the Dublin defence. I mean, Mortimer had an empty net, for example. If you had put that in the net, they'd have come in at half time 4 points.
The same is also true the other way around, though. Like, Dublin have had probably 4 good goal chances. They've only got 1. But like,
that sums up their season, Colin. Sooner or later, you're going to have to put them away in a big game.
I suppose Dublin have been in a bit of a whirl in that first half, and they're still only a point adrift.
Yeah, and I suppose
they're glad to be.
They're coming out and they're saying, you know, we played badly. At least 4 of their forwards are struggling. But, you know, the longer this goes on, Mayo begin to really believe as distinct from what they thought at the start. Maybe we have a chance here. Now they're saying to themselves, we've gone out and we've played them off the park for 35 minutes. We are good enough. Let's go out and finish the job. Dublin, on the other hand, are saying, maybe we're not as good as we think.
Absolutely.
The sort of question marks are beginning to build, the confidence begin to flow. You even saw shots of the hill there and the supporters there, and I wouldn't say it was nice things they were saying about their own forwards missing some easy chances. Keane kicking an easy wide from a free. So the pressure is beginning to bear heavily on Dublin. So this is a real question of the manliness of the Dublin team, whether they're going to be able to come out now, take all of this in their stride, all the pressure that's coming on them, and finish the job.
Isn't it nice to see a player like Kevin O'Neill who's been around for quite a while coming on that second half there and scoring the point that he got?
Yeah, beautiful dainty score at a time whenever Henry had been totally dominating Conroy, and of course O'Neill comes on, dummies him twice, pops it over the bar. Mayo have lots of skillful players like that. I mean, the thing that Dublin have done so far in every game is they've totally dominated the middle of the field, so their defence hasn't been tested. Mayo have broken them open around the middle of the field now, and the defence is laying bare.
Brian Cullen is not the dominant influence either, because Gerard Brady has taken them on and he's stood toe to toe and done very well with him.
Just a point in it then in Mayo's favour.
Darren McGee is also there. Well, Kevin Bonner is back out as well.
But Shane Ryan has gone back to the half-back line, Mike, to left half-back.
Dublin have taken out a defender.
Darren McGee is on the Dublin team as a substitute in place of number 3, Barry Cahill.
Well, there the stadium announcer tells you all you needed to know. Barry Cahill, the Dublin fullback, has been taken off. Darren McGee is into the team at midfield. Shane Ryan is going to wing back, and it looks like Coleman Goggins is gone back to pick up Conor Mortimer. The ball is in, the second half is on, and there are 35 minutes left to decide the destiny of this year's All-Ireland Senior Football semi-final. Who will advance to meet Kerry in the final on the 17th of September? Will it be Mayo, a repeat of the 2004 final, or will it be Dublin and set up a Kerry-Dublin final for the first time since 1985? We will know more in 35 minutes. First ball in on top of Coleman Goggins, took it down confidently outside to Jason Sherlock. Jason Sherlock has Aidan Higgins for company. Sherlock just toe tapping once in the shadow of the Cusack stand. Long ball in towards Conal Keaney, broken down by Keaney to Alan Brogan. Brogan's razor sharp, he's gone for the score, it's gone over the bar. Wonderful start to the second half for Dublin. Again, so simple. Jason Sherlock's long ball broken down by Conal Keaney and driven over the bar by Alan Brogan, and there's no doubt about it, Keith Higgins, he really has his hands full.
He has indeed. Brogan is the complete footballer, as we said in the first half, Mike. It's very hard to keep him under tabs.
Again, welcome to our listeners in KFM, LMFM, Midlands 103 and Radio Kerry. Do hope you're enjoying this All-Ireland semi-final. We're level at Croke Park. Dublin won 6, Mayo 9 points. Here come Dublin, long ball, and Keaney, he's the go-to man, the target man. He's popping up here, there and everywhere. Out at wing forward now, back to David Henry. The pass slightly behind the corner back, has to go back and win it, give it to Kieran Whelan, the midfielder from Raheny. He was an all-star back in 99, dropped in front of Kevin Bonner. Bonner fit and able to resume again and takes the line ball himself in towards Mossy Quinn. Quinn yet to get into this game, back to Bonner. Nobody picked up the run. Racing past him is David Henry. Instead Bonner gives it to Brogan. Back to Bonner. Across. This is a goal surely. It's a goal for Dublin. It's a goal for Jason Sherlock. And Mayo's defence ripped asunder. Dublin with one-touch football. And Hill 16, not for the first time, are making some noise. Dublin 2-6, Mayo 9 points. Jason Sherlock flicks in the goal.
That's as good a bit of football you see anywhere, Mike. Even from a Mayo man, you'll have to stand up and admire that. 6 or 7 hands took that before it eventually ended up in the back of the net.
It was a beautiful move. Mayo take the kick out quickly, but it's won by Dublin. Dublin now, the pendulum beginning to swing their way. They've hit 1-1 inside the first 2 minutes of the second half. Here they come again. Alan Brogan, chance of a goal, fists it high and over the bar, and Dublin are looking like a different team. 2 points from play for Alan Brogan in the first 2.5 minutes of the half. A goal from Jason Sherlock. And dare we say it, Billy, it looks like Mayo will have to make a change in the defence.
Well, all of a sudden, they've come to life, and that they strengthen the midfield by bringing in McGee and Whelan now, and Shane Ryan in the half back line with Brian Cullen. There's a very strong diamond around there now at the moment.
Dublin, who are 1 point behind at half time, are now 4 in front, and Mayo are warming up David Brady. Dublin have won possession from the kick out. Mayo's midfield is gone absent without leave. Shane Ryan driving down along the left hand side of the Mayo defence, popped backwards. It'll drop in again on top of that full forward line. Ray Cosgrove moving in underneath it. Pather Gardner got a hand to it. Mayo's defence, well, it's panic stations now. Mossy Quinn looking for another score. He hasn't caught it cleanly though. It'll drop across the face of the goal. David Clark came and fisted it. Alan Brogan's loose again. Brogan kicking. Brogan scoring. 3 points from play for Alan Brogan in the space of 3 minutes. Keith Higgins has to be moved now, Billy.
Yeah, we're in trouble in there. We're in trouble in a lot of places now, Mike, at the moment. You know, the Dublin midfield are lording it. We need, I think David Brady's warming up there. We should see him any minute, I'd say, coming into the game. We need a bit of power and strength in there.
Well, Mayo just remarkably flat at the beginning of this second half, and Dublin have thundered into the game, and they've hit a goal and 3 points without reply, and they now lead by 8 to 9 points. It's all Dublin. Here's Alan Brogan again. He's torturing Keith Higgins now. Higgins trying to hold him up. It's a free out.
Wrong way, Mike, wrong way. The referee is very kind to the Mayo defence there, I can tell you, because Alan Brogan was hopping that ball as he went around Keith Higgins. It should be a free in.
Number 30, David Brady.
Here comes David Brady, and listen to the roar. Billy Padden has been taken out, and David Brady will play championship football for the first time since the 28th of May against London. He's recovered from injury. A man who's been cycling around the hills and the valleys of Easky recently with the Ballina manager Tommy Lyons, trying to get fit, trying to get back into championship action. He's back. First kick out drops between Brady and Whelan has won it, and Dublin now, the tide has rowed in behind them. Mickey Moran has now made 3 changes. Free to Dublin. It'll be taken by Brian Cullen. Dublin are trying to service Alan Brogan now at each and every opportunity. He's gone into corner forward where he's being marked by Keith Higgins. Possession for David Brady. Uses the fist to play it to Barry Moran. Barry Moran's hand pass half cut out. Moran though got the rub of the green. Ball came back into his arms again. Brady to McDonald. McDonald steps away from the first tackle, away from the second. Still Kieran McDonald. He's inside the 70-yard line. Hand passed inside, but he telegraphed the pass, and Jimmy Allen can't get there. And now Mayo are caught out of position, and there are men walking back the field as Dublin break at speed. Down along the line comes Ray Cosgrove, flicked inside. Dublin have brought this game to another level. Cutting through is Mossy Quinn. He's gone down. Is it a penalty or is it a free? It looks like it'll be a free. It was close. It was very close. Dermot Geraghty fouling Mossy Quinn. Billy Fitzpatrick, it's all one-way traffic.
It was a goal, Mike, if he didn't foul him, because there was a Dublin player right across in front of the goal with just to stick it in the back of the net, and he was going to get the pass because Mossy Quinn had drawn through the whole Mayo defence, and the Dublin player had an empty goal to shove it into.
Yellow card for Dermot Geraghty. Billy, Dublin have hit 1-3 without reply in the space of 6 minutes. What has happened to Mayo?
Yeah, they just have come out of the blocks, in fairness, Mike. You know, they took this second half by the scruff of the neck, and they've just come out of the blocks, and I suppose Sherlock's goal set them up for the start they needed for the second half, you know.
Well, you talk about getting off to good starts. This is a terrific start to the second half for Dublin, and it's just got a whole lot better. Point from a free from Mossy Quinn. That's a goal and 4 points now for Dublin since Paddy Russell threw in the ball for the start of this second half 6.5 minutes ago. And Mayo's first half performance now is all but a distant memory. There are 2 clear goals between the teams. Mickey Moran is on his feet looking animated. He's thrown in Barry Moran, Kevin O'Neill and David Brady. Are there more changes to come? He has just 2 left. Kick out from David Clark. Dublin now winning all the breaks. First into that ball, Darren McGee. He's made a real difference since he came into this game. McGee driving it down on top of Ray Cosgrove. Pather Gardner has his hands full with Cosgrove. Cosgrove trying to drive past him inside, and roaring for it is McGee again, but Cosgrove has it. There are Dublin men left, right and centre roaring for the ball. Mayo now just looking to look. They're searching for that second win, some of them. You can just see it in the body language. Free out to Mayo, over carrying by one of the Dublin forwards. Billy, Mayo needs somebody now to take this game by the scruff of the neck.
Dublin have gone very strong around midfield, and Shane Ryan gone back in the half-back line has made a huge difference as well, but they're very strong around midfield now. Mayo find it very hard to get anything going.
Here's Keith Higgins. He's away from Alan Brogan, and he's soloing down towards the Dublin half of the field. Higgins in full flight, drops it in on top of Kevin O'Neill. O'Neill, superb take out in front of his man. Kevin O'Neill twisting and turning. He has loose men inside. Superbly tackled and dispossessed by Coleman Goggins. That was a wonderful piece of textbook defending. Kevin O'Neill was just eyeing up the target, and then the ball was gone, stolen from his grasp. Dublin clear their lines, but only as far as Pat Hart from the Stephenites. Mayo need him to get moving now. Flicked inside to Alan Dillon, sells the dummy to the first man. Flicked inside to Conor Mortimer trying to get room to swing the boot. It's curling, it's gone over the bar. Mayo needed that score from Conor Mortimer, and Mortimer does not disappoint. Pat Hart and Alan Dillon opened up the Dublin defence, and Conor Mortimer kicks the score. We have a 5-point game, 9-10.
We needed that score badly, Mike, just to get a grip back on the game again, and just stop that Dublin flow that has been happening since half time. A very good score by Conor Mortimer under pressure.
4 points now for Conor Mortimer. They've all come from play, and he has now scored a goal and 32 points in the championship, which by my calculation makes him the top scorer from play in Ireland this year. 132 he has scored in all. The kick out fielded by Darren McGee. On landing he feeds it backwards to Kieran Whelan. Stroked into the corner to Alan Brogan. They're trying to feed Brogan all the time now. Brogan from the St Oliver Plunkets trying to take on Keith Higgins. Still it's Brogan holding up possession. Back inside to Bonner. Chance of a score for Kevin Bonner. He fists it up and over the bar. You can just feel Dublin now taking control of this game. Their physical strength is beginning to tell. It didn't look like it was possible in the first half that they could take control like this, but they have, and it's now 10-10 Dublin lead.
Yeah, they're really all over the place, their strength now is beginning to tell. They're really wearing down Mayo at this stage. I see Aidan Kilcoyne, I think, is coming on now for Barry Morden.
Mayo are making a change. Barry Morden, who came in during the first half for the injured Ronan McGarity, he has been taken out, and as Billy mentioned, in comes Aidan Kilcoyne. That will mean a reshuffle ever so slightly. Kilcoyne has gone in to wing forward. Mayo's midfield is now David Brady and Pat Hart. Mayo have made 4 changes. They've got just one left. David Clark kick out to this wing. Mayo need David Brady now to get things moving. Brady kicked inside with a foot pass. Kieran Whelan and David Brady just swapping pleasantries and a bit of pushing and shoving as well as Pather Gardner goes soling down along the middle. The Dublin supporters are singing, and why not? Jason Sherlock onto that ball in a flash, but well read by Dermot Geraghty. Superb interception. The corner back from Shrewd Glencorrib. He comes from the village of Ramalin in Shrewd. Geraghty soloing out past the halfway line. Fifth to Keith Higgins from Ballyhonus. Inside to Pather Gardner. The pass was just overcooked. And in the first half, those passes were sticking to the hand. And in the second, they're not. And Kieran MacDonald is out of the game just now. And without him, Mayo look leaderless. They look rudderless around the middle of the field. Ball is with Jason Sherlock. He's handling so much ball. Flick to the runner. The runner is the full forward Kevin Bonner, driven in towards Conal Keaney. Keaney has the legs on Heaney here. Keaney slips, out comes David Clark. Still Conal Keaney, flicking, it's gone over the bar. Everything Dublin are doing right now is working out. Conal Keaney was on the flat of his back. He got up, he flicked that ball over his head and over the bar, and Dublin lead to 11-10. Mayo are making that 5th change. It's very early to have used up all your subs. There are 24 minutes of normal time left, and this does not look good, Billy. Jimmy Nallen's been taken out and Andy Moran is in. Jimmy Nallen gone from the heart of the Mayo defence.
Yeah, the physical power now when they're taking on the Mayo backs, Mike. They're just running through the Mayo backs and just pushing them out of the way. It's real powerhouse stuff, like what we expected from Dublin and what we talked about.
Billy, if somebody told you that with 25 minutes left Mayo would have no subs left and Trevor Mortimer would not be in the game, would you be worried?
I would be worried, yeah. And the way the trend of the game is going now, Mike, they're in total control around midfield.
We are 11 minutes into the second half and we are watching a different game of football here since half time. It's Dublin 2 goals and 11 points. It's Mayo 10 points. There are 7 clear scores between them, and Conal Keaney, the Dublin full forward, the latest scorer. 82,148 people exactly have paid in to watch this semi-final. Is the game over? We would hope not. Alan Dillon to Ger Brady. Brady cutting through. Mayo need a score. Can Brady deliver? Yes, he can. David Brady watches and applauds as his brother Ger drives that ball into the hill for his 2nd point from play to 11-11. There are 2 clear goals between them, and Mayo's full back line is now Dermot Geraghty, Aidan Higgins and David Heaney. Mayo's half back line is Pather Gardner, Keith Higgins and Andy Moran is at left half back. That's the way the Mayo defence looks, Billy.
Yeah, Andy Moran at left half back. That's one for a quiz down the road, Mike.
Andy Moran, he would not be renowned as a defender, but he's got pace and he's got strength and he's a good footballer, and he's in. And Mayo have now introduced, as we mentioned, the full complement of the 5 subs. Barry Moran was in and was taken out again. Andy Moran, Aidan Kilcoyne, Kevin O'Neill and David Brady all in. Billy, you're watching a little bit of antics at the Hill 16 end.
Looks like Conor might be getting yellow.
Well, the referee Paddy Russell is certainly writing in the little black book, yellow card, and the Dublin supporters on the hill, well, they enjoyed that. Conor Mortimer, who has been kept on a very tight leash by Paul Griffin, but has still managed to escape and kick 4 points from play in this match. Just one of them has arrived in the second half. Well, 13 minutes gone in the second half. Greetings to Pat and Andrew Coyne, who are listening to us in the United States of America. It's not pleasant listening for Mayo supporters just now. Kieran MacDonald flicked inside to Andy Moran, who's up from wing back. Andy twists away from the first tackle, flicked inside to Aidan Kilcoyne. Kilcoyne driving through. Mayo need a score, they need plenty of them. Kilcoyne bottled up, swallowed up, and the Dublin defence converge en masse. It's a free out, overcarried. And there you could just see the power and the intensity that we have been hearing all about. It was there before our eyes. The Dublin defence, all 6 of them almost, converging on Aidan Kilcoyne. Free out and taken quickly. Paul Griffin to Brian Cullen. Hasn't been as much of an influence today as he has been in the past, but he's done well. In on top of Mossy Quinn. Flick back to Ray Cosgrove. Cosgrove dropping it in dangerously. Out comes David Clark. David Clark did well there to take that ball down and give it short to Aidan Higgins with the hand, and Aidan Higgins to Dermot Geraghty. There are 21 minutes left. There's plenty of time. Mayo are 2 clear goals behind, 2-11. Aidan Higgins trying to drive on from wing back, the Charlestown clubman, to Pather Gardner, to Kieran MacDonald. Mayo continuing to play away. Now the 2-man full forward line will be called into action. Kevin O'Neill rises with Paul Casey. O'Neill gets there. They'll know each other well from Dublin club football. Aidan Kilcoyne trying to turn onto his right boot. Back to Dillon. O'Neill roaring for it. Dillon kicks for the score. It's gone up, it's gone over the bar, and this game might not be over just yet. Dublin are making a change. They're taking out Ray Cosgrove. They're bringing in Senan Connell. And Ray Cosgrove can feel hard done by, Billy, because he's kicked 2 points and he's done well.
He has been doing quite well, won a lot of ball out that side of the field, but I think they've been doing this all year. They get so much out of Ray Cosgrove. Then they bring in Senan Connell, a hard runner, a very big strong man as well.
Billy, much like Mayo, we were rocked right back on our heels up here in the Crow's Nest as well, but now there are just 5 points between the teams again, and there are 20 minutes left.
Yeah, there's a long way to go in this game yet.
Kick out from Stephen Cluxton, broken down by David Brady. Mayo are not for turning. They're refusing to bend the knee. Andy Moran outside to David Brady again. One of the great warriors of Mayo football. Short to Kieran MacDonald. They played senior football together 10 years ago for Mayo. MacDonald taking a toe tap, looking up, fists with the hand into Kevin O'Neill. He won an all-star back in 93. Brilliant ball into Andy Moran. Chance of a goal. Andy shoots. It's a goal! It's a goal for Andy Moran. It's a goal for Mayo, and they're right back in this match. You can just feel Croke Park getting an extra surge of energy. Andy Moran, he got up from wing back, he turned and he snuck it into the bottom left-hand corner. It was a matter of inches. Stephen Cluxton just couldn't keep it out, and now it's a 2-point game, and Mayo refused to go away.
A great bit of play by Kevin O'Neill. What vision from Kevin O'Neill. Just stuck it in over the top for Andy Moran.
Kevin O'Neill's pass was exquisite, and Andy Moran's finish was up there with the best of them. This All-Ireland semi-final has had more twists and turns than the back roads around North, South, East and West Mayo. It's been something else, mesmerising. Kieran MacDonald's pass in on top of Kevin O'Neill has been caught by David Henry. This match is going to the wire. We need not have worried about Mayo. When they slipped 7 points behind early in this second half, we were wondering, was it a case of here we go again? But they have struck a goal and 3 points in response to Dublin's early blitz, and now it's Dublin 2-11, Mayo 1-12. That's 17 points to 15, and there's plenty of time. Line ball to Dublin, just down here in front of us. Billy, I suppose if there was a need to sound a note of caution, it is that no matter how tired Mayo men get now, there are no subs left to bring in.
No subs left to come in now, Mike, and anybody injured, will have to just carry on.
Line ball to Dublin. Conal Keeney has come out to take it. How will Dublin respond now? They're being asked all the hard questions. Have they got a response? Alan Brogan sells the dummy to Heaney, kicks with the left boot. It's gone out to the left and wide, and that will do Dublin's confidence no good at all, as Aidan Higgins and Alan Brogan engage in a little bit of pushing and shoving, and it's been a real championship battle. Aidan Higgins is now picking up Alan Brogan. Mayo made that change, Billy, and now Aidan Higgins, he's hanging literally out of Alan Brogan.
Yeah, indeed he is. Yeah, that change was there to be made.
Well, Aidan Higgins has played a lot of football, 31 years of age. He's played Sigerson, he's played in Connacht and All-Ireland club semi-finals, he's played county football here 7 years ago, and now he's shackling Brogan as away goes Aidan Kilcoyne. Kilcoyne, another impact sub, back to Kevin O'Neill. Kevin O'Neill, that's a wonderful score. Kevin O'Neill kicks into the hill and over the bar, and Jason Sherlock has run off the field of play to talk to Paul Caffrey. We have a 1-point game, and if Jason Sherlock is worried, Mayo must be doing something right.
Certainly Dublin are beginning to worry now. You know, they've lost that 6 or 7 points lead that they had, and Mayo have come right back into this game.
Dublin 2-11, Mayo 1-13, and Kevin O'Neill, the old dog for the hard road, and Kevin O'Neill has kicked 2 of the most important points he's ever likely to kick in this game. The stopwatch says 18.5 minutes gone. We're just passing the 3/4 mark, and Aidan Kilcoyne, he's a young man, but he's revelling in the opening spaces. Kilcoyne to Dillon, Alan Dillon, he brushes past Brian Cullen. This will be the equaliser. Dillon kicks, Dillon scores, and we're level at Croke Park once more. Ger Brady is throwing his clenched fists into the air and begging for the Mayo supporters to make themselves heard. They're on their feet in the Cusick, they're on their feet in the Hogan, and they're on their feet in the Canal End. Level 2-11, 1-14. What about Alan Dillon?
Dublin are shocked really at this stage, and what a game Aidan Kilcoyne has played since he's come in. Very, very good.
Dublin have seen a 7-point lead wiped out completely, and David Brady and Kieran Whelan are pushing and getting to know each other and chatting, and this is what we came here to see, Billy, a real old-fashioned humdinger of a game of football.
This is more like it, and David Brady, mind you, has made a bit of a difference since he came in, you know, and he has been out of football so long. He's really come into this game again.
Well, it's time to just take stock.
Whelan is gone off again with that cut, must have opened up there again.
Kieran Whelan, as Billy mentioned, will have to make his way off the field and be patched up again. But it really has been an afternoon to savour. The Roscommon Miners through to the Ireland final. They beat Meath. Leitrim beaten in the Tommy Murphy Cup final by Louth. And now the main event, this All-Ireland semi-final, the first meeting of Mayo and Dublin in the championship for 21 years. Well, it's been worth waiting for. Declan Lally back in for Dublin. He's in to replace Kieran Whelan. Mayo now have taken the game by the scruff of the neck. David Brady to Alan Dillon to Kieran MacDonald. MacDonald, the playmaker, the man who makes Mayo tick. MacDonald trying to take on 2 Dublin defenders, pulled to the ground and fouled, says the referee Paddy Russell. It's a free in. And Kieran MacDonald, who first wore the Mayo jersey as an under-16 way back in the early 90s, is here doing his thing. He took a breather during the early stages of this second half, but now he's back into this game with a bang. He won that free, and across to take it comes Conor Mortimer. Mortimer trying to compose himself. Paul Caffrey speaking with Kieran Whelan. You'd need eyes in the back of your head to track everything here. Stephen Cluxton is calling for reinforcements back onto the goal line. We're 21 minutes into the second half, and if Conor Mortimer can knock this ball over the bar, Mayo are back in front. He's 30 yards out, he's on the right wing, he'll kick from the hands. Mortimer kicks, it's gone inches inside the post and over the bar. We were watching, we were waiting, and we were hoping that the umpire would wave that white flag. We needn't have doubted Conor Mortimer. 1:15 to 2:11. This is in danger, Billy, of becoming one of the great All-Ireland semi-finals.
It is indeed, but you would worry now that Peadar Garner is gone down. It doesn't look like he's able to continue, but I think he'll have to continue, Mike. I think Mayo might have used up all their subs, have they?
Well, by my reckoning, Billy, Mayo have made the 5 subs. They've introduced all 5 already. There's a player down for Mayo. It is Peadar Gardner, as you rightly said. Dr. Fergal Ruan is in. I see the Mayo physio heading in as well. And now Mickey Moran is scratching his head, Billy, and he will need to, because if Peadar Gardner is out of this game, Mayo will have to play the last 13 minutes with 14 men.
Yeah, that's right, and we shouldn't have left ourselves without a sub going into the last couple of minutes of the game. You know, we should have held back on some sub. Peadar Gardner was on his feet again.
It looks like
it'll take a lot to keep him down now at this stage.
It looks like somebody somewhere has lit a candle, they've said a prayer, they've done a decade of the rosary. Something has worked. Peadar Gardner is fit and able to resume. Mayo can play on with 15 men. Hallelujah. 57.5 minutes gone, and it's been some 57.5 minutes. Mayo have the football. The man who has it, you needn't have asked, is Kieran MacDonald. Standing on the halfway line, drilling it in towards Kevin O'Neill. The bounce beats Kevin O'Neill and Paul Casey. It also beats the Mayo substitute Andy Moore, and across comes Shane Ryan. Shane Ryan pulled and dragged by Conor Mortimer. Conor's on a yellow. He's just been shown the book, and he is walking a very thin line, Billy.
Very thin line, yeah. Yeah, the referee, I don't know, can you show the book, but
Well, Conor
He showed
Mortimer is one foul away from being sent off, and then Mayo would be in real trouble. They need their top scorer on the field now like never before. Mayo 1-15, Dublin 2-11. That's a 1 point lead for Mayo in the All-Ireland semi-final. Now here come Dublin. Space for Kevin Bonner, 30 yards out on the far side on the Cusack stand. Stepping inside, Aidan Higgins, still advancing. The kick goes up in the air, it's dangerous, it's a Gary Owen dropping, up goes Heaney. Heaney got the hand to it, the fist to it to knock it clear, and it's Kieran MacDonald, who else, the human dynamo, who's back there to gather possession. MacDonald throws Mossy Quinn out of his way, throws Conal Keaney out of his way, and drives that ball 60 yards down the field. It's gone out over the line in front of the Hogan, line ball to Dublin. But Kieran MacDonald, all the strength he's built up from years and years of manual labour, he used every ounce of it there to hold off Mossy Quinn, to hold off Conal Keaney, and to clear that ball. The linesman is called across, the referee Paddy Russell. He's having a word in his ear. Listen to the noise, listen to the roar. It's the Mayo supporters. Remember, just between 8,000 and 9,000 tickets made their way to Mayo. It seems by the sound of things that a few more have been procured across the country and maybe even further beyond. They've travelled here by plane, train and automobile to watch Mayo have their latest outing in the championship, their 6th outing in all. They've beaten London, Leitrim, Galway, Laois after a replay. This is their 3rd successive Sunday to be here in Croke Park, and by God are they enjoying themselves. Paddy Russell goes in to have a word. He wants to talk to the number 10, Conal Keaney. He's going to, it looks like, book the Dublin forward for that late tackle on Kieran MacDonald, and David Heaney says to Paddy Russell, well done, you didn't miss it, and trots back in to pick up Keaney again. Line ball to Dublin. The stopwatch tells us that there are 10 minutes of normal time left, and wherever you're listening to us, hang on tight. This is going to be one long 10 minutes. Conal Keaney kicking, looking for the equaliser, drop short, and out comes David Clark. David Clark, this is just his 2nd game of football with Mayo in the last 12 months, and here he comes soloing out of the defence, a bit like Charlie Nelligan back in his heyday. Clark releases to Dermot Geraghty on his knees, and who's on his shoulder? Keith Higgins delving deep into his reservoir of energy to hand pass that ball outside to David Heaney, who's driving out along the right hand side. Down goes Heaney, in comes Paddy Russell. It's a free to Mayo. Mayo are finishing with a real flourish. Dublin are making a change. They're taking out Shane Ryan, they're bringing in Declan Lally, and Declan Lally has been in and out of this game, Billy, like a yo-yo, but he's a good player and he's in now.
Yeah, he's a good player, and Shane Ryan probably has just run himself out because he has played his heart out for Dublin today.
Billy, you've played and you've watched a lot of football. The stewards are moving into position. That means there are 10 minutes left and Mayo are a point in front. Are they going to win this game?
Yeah, well, we might be back here again, Mike.
I seem to remember you saying that last week or 2 weeks ago, Billy, and you were right.
No, I you know, it's very hard to know. You know, Dublin look out of it at the moment. Mayo are full of running, Mike. If they can stick this for another 10 minutes and put another score on the board, I think they need another point on the board, and maybe Kieran would throw this over.
Well, Dublin hit Mayo with everything they had in the first 10 minutes of the second half. They scored a goal and 6 points, but Mayo just would not drop to the canvas. They stuck their ground, and now they find themselves a point in front. That free from Mayo has dropped short, and Kieran Whelan will drive the football down the middle, but only as far as Tyler Gardner. Mayo are playing with great courage and character. They're playing from the front. They're a point to the good, and they look like they're enjoying the view. Kieran MacDonald holding the ball out like a marble, looks up and sprays the pass to David Brady. David Brady holds up the football and slips it back inside to Tyler Gardner. Gardner driving towards the Dublin goal. Dublin backpedaling back to Kevin O'Neill. Can he kick another score? It's close. It's gone across the face of goal, and it's gone out to the right and wide. The stewards with the luminous bibs have moved into position right around Croke Park. They're forming a luminous circle right around the ground. The players will know that the clock is running down. There are 8 minutes of normal time left, and Paul Caffrey and Mickey Moran, you can see them 50 yards apart, drawing breath. They're wearing their poker faces. A penny for their thoughts. What must they be thinking? Ger Brady goes in to win this ball for Mayo. Possession is vital now. Brady driving down along the right hand side, holding off his man. His man is Declan Lally. Brady back outside to Alan Dillon, jinking and jiving. Back to Brady again. Mayo holding up the ball. Ger Brady inside to the big brother David. David Brady goes tumbling, not once but twice. Paddy Russell is not buying what David Brady is selling, and eventually he blows his whistle, and it looks like at best Mayo will get a hot ball. And if they get that hot ball, Billy, David Brady has done a great job.
He has, yeah, definitely. Yeah, he got hit very hard there. I thought he deserved a free in, Mike. You know, I thought he was fouled first, and I thought he was hit then. but it looks like he's not going to get the free.
Well, Dr. Fergal Ruan was busy last Sunday. He's certainly working overtime today. He's been in and out of that Mayo dugout all day long, as has Owen Sweeney, the team masseuse, who was giving a drink of water, a well-deserved one to Andy Moran. And if Mayo do go on to win this game, Billy, Andy Moran's introduction at wing back, the man who popped up to score a goal, it'll be talked about for years to come.
That'll be a very famous goal indeed, Mike.
Well, they talk about Pádraig Brogan's goal in 85. Will Andy Moran's goal turn out to be quite as crucial? We shall know very soon. 7 minutes left, make that 6.5, and Mayo have got a free. It was a hot ball that was won by Ger Brady, and Ger, the human Kango, went driving through that Dublin defence. He was fouled, and apart from anything else, Billy Fitzpatrick, at this stage, Dublin look to be clean out of ideas around the middle of the field.
Yeah, they're out of ideas. They're gone out of the game. They've drifted out of the game now, Mike, and they're just not getting the ball up the field.
Dublin have not scored for the last 18 minutes of this game. They hit a goal and 6 points in the first 11 minutes of the half, and since then, well, the well has run dry. They just cannot buy a score. Meanwhile, back of the ranch, Conor Mortimer, 18,000 Dublin supporters whistling just a couple of yards away from him in the hill. He's 25 yards out. He's on the right wing. He would be pointing these for fun down in Shrule. He's kicked it across the face of goal. It's gone out to the left and wide. Mayo could have done with that score, but they haven't got it, and this is the cue for Mark Vaughan to arrive. Mark Vaughan, the Conor Mortimer, you could say, of Dublin football. He's in. Out comes Mossy Quinn, and Mark Vaughan will take watching, Billy.
He will indeed, Jan. If they get a long range free, he's capable of putting it over from 50, 60 yards out.
Well, certainly this is not good for the heart. Stephen Cluxton, the Dublin goalkeeper, driving that ball right down the centre. All the fancy tactics are gone now. It's all about getting on with the game for Dublin, and Kieran MacDonald is tied up by Brian Cullen, as David Brady and Kieran Whelan are still hopping off one another, and they have not left each other's side, Billy, since David came on.
I think Kieran is heading for a man of the match performance, because in the last 15 minutes he has been the real reason why Mayo have come back into this game. He has won the world of ball back in his own full back line, all over the pitch. He has some injury today. He's very, very fit, and he's going to the very last. He's very determined to make this his day here in Croke Park.
Mickey Moran has snuck a quiet word with Andy Moran as referee Paddy Russell was speaking to a couple of Dublin men. Mayo take the free. Kieran MacDonald, Pat Hart, Andy Moran. Kieran MacDonald wants it back, and Andy Moran obliges. MacDonald, lovely ball into the corner to Kevin O'Neill. Kevin O'Neill jinking, holding up the play. Back to Alan Dillon. Dillon on the left wing, trying to cut inside the Dublin backline. Two of them just jumped in. Now Andy Moore, now Kieran MacDonald. Dublin fanning across, forming a blue wall, but Mayo are playing keep ball. Pat Hart, David Brady, Mayo being patient, trying to pick their way through. Brady's pass releases Aidan Higgins. Man on the overlap is Alan Dillon. Dillon kicking under pressure, blazing it up in the air, but Stephen Cluxton has to come out and do some work, and he does well. The Dublin keeper took that ball down confidently and fisted outside, and away come Dublin. It's Declan Lally, the flying wing back. Lovely ball down to Alan Brogan. Brogan has it 70 yards out, make it 50. Mayo men backpedaling furiously, one of them Gardner, one of them Hart. Brogan kicking, looking for the equaliser. It's gone over the bar, and the sides are level. 20 minutes without a score, and then Alan Brogan kicks a wonderful point. Dublin 2-12, Mayo 1-15. That's 18 points apiece, and that is the moment for Colin Moran, the Dublin captain, to come in. That completes his recovery from injury. Dublin have taken out Kevin Bonner. 18 points apiece, 3.5 minutes left, Billy.
Yeah, we
better not make any plans for next Sunday.
We could be coming back, Mike.
Alan Brogan, he's the real danger man. That was his 4th point of the second half. Dublin are coming again now. They've been rejuvenated by that score. Here's Mark Vaughan. He doesn't score many, but when he does, they're spectacular. Back up the post, back into play, and again, not for the first time, the timber saves Mayo. David Heaney, the Mayo captain, he's picked up a knock. It better not be serious, or else Mayo are down to 14 men. Heaney's in trouble. Pat Hart has the football. He's surrounded. Andy Moran there to help him. Now Kieran MacDonald, hand pass to Ger Brady. There's a break on here. Mayo go on the counter-attack. Keith Higgins is screaming for it. Higgins has it. He falls over. Play on, says the referee. Higgins to Kevin O'Neill. 3 Dublin men around him. O'Neill back to MacDonald. MacDonald kicking into the hill. He struck it beautifully. It's gone over the bar, and Mayo lead. 2.5 minutes to go, and Kieran MacDonald, the magician, works his magic. Mayo 1-16, Dublin 2-12, and Kevin O'Neill and Kieran MacDonald yet again, Billy, do the damage.
Yeah, Kevin O'Neill again, he has played such a game since he came in, he's so vital to everything that that Mayo are doing, and Kieran MacDonald again, both players with great vision, and they're really making use of every inch they gain now, every foot, every yard. They're trying to gain it, and they're playing with such determination.
Well, Mayo have hit 1-7 now in the second half, and wherever you're listening to this game across the country or across the globe, this is threatening to be one of the great days for Mayo football. Is this championship season set to go on for one more day? Mayo lead Dublin by 116 to 212, and we have 90 seconds of normal time left. David Heaney is hobbling. The man is on one leg, but he will not go off. He cannot go off. Mayo have used all their subs. Here come Dublin. It's ballooned in on top of Conal Keeney. Heaney and Keeney hanging out of one another. 6 to 1, half dozen the other. And Paddy Russell says, play away. There'll be no free just now. Aidan Kilcoyne, short to Andy Moran. Mayo playing keep ball. The team that Mickey Moran has built are on the cusp of an All-Ireland final. 89, 96, 97 and 2004. They have been Mayo's most recent trips to Croke Park on an Ireland final Sunday. Is there set to be another one? Can they hang on? Kieran MacDonald looks to take out the pitching wedge, plays the pass right across the field. He's given it away. He holds his head. He knows he's wasted that ball. High ball in on top of Jason Sherlock and Keith Higgins racing for possession. Higgins wins the race. He's pushed in the back. No, says the referee, and across comes David Heaney. He drives that ball into the canal end. It'll be a 45, and David Heaney, he is on one leg. His body is telling him something that his mind does just not want to know. And the Mayo captain, he's been held together by bandages, and he is just playing on pure adrenaline, and you can see how vital he is there, Billy. He made that interception.
David Heaney is playing on one leg at the moment now, and he's still standing there, you know.
We have 17 seconds of normal time, and I haven't seen the fourth official hold up that board. I'm sure he has. If he hasn't, we'll have to hang on to our hats and hope for the best. It's a 45 to Dublin. Mark Vaughan is kicking into the canal end. David Clark is back on the goal line. All eyes are on Vaughan, the blonde bombshell of Dublin football. He struck it well. It's on its way. It's close. It's dropping. It's hit the crossbar. It's come back into play. Jason Sherlock blocked down superbly. Chance for Darren McGee. McGee bottled up, and Peter Gardner comes out with the football. Where did he come from? Dermot Geraghty, Andy Moran, Alan Dillon. Mayo shall not be moved. We're into injury time. Mayo are a point in front. They've got a free, and Alan Dillon has collapsed to the ground in agony. He's injured. At least 3 minutes. We've played 35 seconds. That leaves us with at least 2.5. Mayo don't deserve to not win this game, Billy.
No, they fought tremendously hard. That was a great block down there. They did everything right. They stayed off Darren McGee when he got the ball. They just stayed on their feet and blocked him out and won the ball and took it away.
David Brady has just turned to the Hogan stand. He's clenched his fist, and hundreds, literally hundreds of Mayo supporters have stood up en masse at Brady's command. He's the midfield general. He's come off the bench, and he has managed to lift Mayo up by the bootlaces when the cause seemed lost. He, Kieran MacDonald and Kevin O'Neill have been instrumental. We're into injury time, deep into injury time. There's about 2 minutes left. 116 to Mayo, 2-12 to Dublin. That scoreline is all you need to know, and Dublin have a free. Jason Sherlock's been fouled 55 yards out, and they're roaring at Jason Sherlock to stall the ball, to slow things down, and across comes Mark Vaughan. Mayo are fighting a rearguard action, there's no doubt about it. They're 1 point in front, and they do not want to relinquish that lead. Mark Vaughan is coming out. I seem to remember he struck a few big scores from frees in the last couple of seasons here for Dublin, but none surely were struck under this much pressure. This kick could bring Dublin back for a second chance at this All-Ireland semi-final. Miss it and Mayo could win. Vaughan, he struck it. It's got the distance, but not the accuracy. It's gone wide to the right, and David Clark will not be rushing this kick out. We've played 2 minutes and 13 seconds of injury time, and Mayo are on the verge of writing the latest chapter in their Mayo football history. The team that Mickey Moran, John Morrison and Kieran Gallagher built, quite literally, since taking over last November, look like they're on the doorstep of an All-Ireland final. They're a point in front. Pat Hart soars into the clouds to win the kick-out. That's the most important catch he's ever made. David Brady, back to Hart. They look like they're at home out there. Kieran MacDonald, he's lost possession. Pat Hart comes in to win it back. In goes Aidan Kilcoyne. pulls in it first time, anywhere will do. It's gone out over the line ball to Dublin. We have now played the 3 minutes of stoppage time. It's all at the discretion of the referee, Paddy Russell. Are the favourites Dublin about to be dumped out of the championship? It certainly looks likely. Dublin went short with the line ball, too short for the liking of the referee. They'll have to do it all over again. It's been high scoring, it's been dramatic, it's been incredible, and Mayo lead after 73.5 minutes by 116 to 212. Dublin are playing away, but they haven't heard the whistle because Paddy Russell wants them to come back. Colin Moran is driving it forward. None of this will matter because Paddy Russell wants the ball back in front of the hill. And now, well, David Heaney still hasn't heard the whistle. Now they have, and Aidan Higgins will stop the play and Paddy Russell will call it back. Billy Fitzpatrick, we've played nearly 4 minutes. Surely Mayo are going to win this game.
Well, they should now, Mike, you know. I'm a bit speechless.
It's all over. It's all over. And now the fun starts. Mayo are through to the All-Ireland Senior Football Final of 2006, and Dublin have been stunned. Remember that scoreline. Mayo 116, Dublin 212. It will be etched in history on the day when the team that Mickey Moran built knocked Pillar's Army out of the championship. It'll be Mayo and Kerry all over again on Sunday the 17th of September, and it will be a day not to be missed. Incredible scenes here at Croke Park. A journey that began for Mayo over in Ruislip on the 28th of May and took in victories over London, Leitrim, Galway and Laois after a replay, has now resulted in victory over Dublin, and the Dublin team, management and supporters are stunned, Billy Fitzpatrick, into silence.
Yeah, I like the start of the second half as if they were going to blow us away, Mike, you know, and you'll have to say after halfway through the second half it looked like Dublin were home and dry, but then wherever Mayo got this, they got it somewhere, Mike. They got this inspiration somewhere, and my God, did they turn it around without a sub for the last 20 minutes. It was some performance, because David Heaney was struggling in one leg, Padder Garner was struggling in one leg, but those lads kept going, and what heart and what determination. Hats off to each and every one of those players out there today.
Billy, we hear people talking about men on a mission. David Brady, Kieran McDonald, Kevin O'Neill, just three of players in particular who looked like they would not take no for an answer today. When the chips were down and the questions were being asked, they led by example.
They did, yeah. The introduction of Kevin O'Neill was a master stroke, because he brought that little bit of vision to the forward line. You know, every touch and every time he touched the ball, something was happening. He set up the scores, he set up the vital scores for Mayo, and you'd have to say, Mike, you know, when you're looking for players right throughout the field, everybody stood up and were counted. Everybody gave 110%. David Brady, when he came on, you know, he's out of football for the last 5 months, and he, you know, he have to be struggling with fitness, but by God, he stood up there and he fought and fought and fought, and he turned to the crowd and he got the crowd going.
Mickey, you're holding up the Mayo crest on your shirt. How do you feel? Unbelievable. A lot of emotion with this, Mickey. What's in your head right now, Mickey?
I just can't think. Look, it all boiled down. The team talk boiled down to one word. One word: faith. Too many people in this world hope things go. We've been very charitable in the old teams in the past. Faith and belief in ourselves. And for Lynette O'Hara, getting treatment on the matter, I have a jersey for you, Lynette, and we've got you to the final. You're going to see it.
I spoke to you before the match. You were very relaxed. You knew your team could do this today. You had that faith and that belief.
It's not about me. It's about partnership, the whole 30 players, the backroom team and the board. All I said all year, what's in the change rooms is all that matters. And as long as we believe, it's a great victory, especially the way we come back. But we'll enjoy it, but we're in the final, which Kerry will be something else.
Yeah, your old friends Kerry again, huh?
Yes, but my new friends are Mayo.
you'll enjoy today. Mickey, thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
I suppose they'll empathise, but they're in the final.
Listen, I mean, it was a heroic, unforgettable Mayo performance. I mean, the greatest performance by a Mayo team in living memory, and, you know, exercising a lot of the ghosts of the past. I mean, very well prepared, fitness excellent, you know, and I mean, it was by a long chalk the best game of the year, and their refusal to wilt when they went 7 points behind says something to their psychological strength and their economy. Well, whatever, you know, and I mean, you have to say that the management have turned out, I mean, what we now see to be a very fine team. I mean, like, until now they've been dominating games and not scoring and playing badly but winning.
Yeah. But
today you saw really an unforgettable performance by what looks like a team that can make a serious challenge now for an All-Ireland.
You were making the point to me that when Derry won the All-Ireland in '93, Mickey Moran was involved with that team, and you were in a similar situation.
I was making the point this morning, probably when nobody had even tuned in before the Tommy Murphy Cup, that you know, if you can silence the Hill and you can put them under pressure and they start to get nervous. The Hill was silent after that 7-minute spell in the second half. Once Mayo ruled them back in the last 10 minutes the Hill was silent. I remember in '93, Mickey Moran, we were 5 points behind in the All-Ireland semi-final. And Mickey was the sort of quiet, reserved coach. You know, Eamon Coleman did all the talking. He was the big personality. And Mickey made a most amazing half-time oration to the Derry team that day and rose us all, because we didn't. I mean, Mickey wasn't that sort of personality. We came out in the second half and we accelerated past the Dubs and they froze just like that. Like that. You know, now, I mean, it was a huge achievement to come from 7 points behind.
Well,
I mean,
I was just going to say, Colin, I mean, the way Dublin started the second half, I mean, the points that they banged over from Alan Brogan and J.O.'s goal, it looked like it was Dublin's day then.
Yeah, well, if I live to be 100, I'm not going to ever see a better game than this. And, you know, how Mayo came back into this game was just fantastic, and it showed the bravery and spirit that they have in the team, because when we were looking down here and Bonner came in with this, they did a couple of very neat hand passes, and when J.O. scored, and J.O. of all players sort of put the Dublin crowd wild. But, you know, Joe was making the point about the crowd react to what's happening on the field.
Yes.
And I always said that, you know, if you were playing well, the crowd quietened very, very quickly. And even though J.O. scores, the type of performance that Mayo gave for the last 25 minutes when they outscored Dublin by 1-6 to a point, you know, is the greatest comeback story that'll ever be written in Mayo. And, you know, all the great performance.
They look so composed in the second half.
They never lost away. They never give up the hope, because even when they're 7 points behind, we're creating plenty of chances. And their forward line were still making the runs. I thought Alan Dillon was absolutely superb all through in that game. But a lot of Mayo players just threw themselves into tackle, even in the last catch there by Pat Hart. It showed a sort of a bravery of spirit that we...
David Heaney had no business being on the field in the last 10 minutes because he was injured, but he couldn't go off because they had no sub.
And they fought on, and, you know, at one stage it looked as if Alan Brogan was going to destroy Keith Higgins and win the game on his own. 3 points in the start of the second half, and yet Mayo backs, they did their bit of shifting around and they still covered off.
Let's have a look at the Mayo goal, Joe.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was coming, you have to say. I mean, even though, I mean, you know, like, Dublin won the first 7 kickouts of the second half, and during that period in time, 7 minutes it took them to go 7 points up. But as Colin says, Mayo, who were in the groove at half time, and once a team gets into the groove, normally they stay in it. They just kept plugging away, and they continued throughout the game, apart from that 7-minute spell, to be the better team. And they richly deserved it, you know, and in a way, Dublin's attempt to shake them off was a sort of a desperate attempt, but when that failed, that was it. I mean, after that, for the last 25 minutes, it was all Mayo, and it was only a matter of whether or not they could catch them.
And yet, I mean, the beauty of it was drama down to the last. I mean, it was absolute nail-biting stuff looking around the stadium here.
You know, the players were the coolest of the 82,000 that were here, because they had... And Brogan scored a brilliant point to level it, and I was sort of half hoping that the referee would blow it up at some stage and that we'd have a draw and come back, because it was such a memorable game of football. You'd like to see more of that. But Mayo in that last quarter of the game were the better team. They played the more composed football. Dublin became a bit frantic, you know, did a few silly things, gave the ball away. When Mayo got it, what they were very good at was holding on to the ball. Even at times when you'd say, why don't they lash it up, they were great at just putting the ball through their hands. And it showed, I think, Mickey Moran and John Morrison's training methods. You know, they moved the ball across the field, and eventually somebody would make a move inside. Mortimer ran himself, you know...
And their conditioning column, their fitness was excellent.
Mortimer ran himself into the ground, and so did Dylan up. And the subs to put on, Barry Moran, Aidan Kilcoyne, they all played a vital part.
Got the goal there, yes.
Yeah, so it was a complete panel effort, just as much as anything else, because it was Kevin O'Neill who threaded through that most beautiful of passes which set up the goal. And you know,
in a way, he sort of changed the game when he came on, because he came on, first 2 touches, he scored 2 points. He has that extra bit of skill and vision, you know.
The last day he was taken off here, he come on as a sub and he was taken off again, and he hit one of the Mayo officials going off. So obviously he wasn't too pleased with that. He had a point to prove today, clearly.
He certainly had, and when he got the ball, there was danger.
Well, he proved
even though
it.
there was one time with about 65 minutes gone when he had a chance of a point, and then Mortimer missed the free, and I said it's not going to be like this again for Mayo. But they hung in, and then McDonald scored the most brilliant winner that you could ever see.
Well, gentlemen, now we know the lineup for this year's All-Ireland football final. The only small matter now is the hunt for tickets. Well, if Joe Brolly and Colin O'Rourke are nice to us, we might just invite them back again for the next day. We'll see you next Sunday, hopefully, for the big hurling action. In the meantime, take care.